Chapter 15:10. They could only watch as one of their own members died for no reason. Godlord Dreamcolor and Yu Luping were extremely agitated as they charged in pursuit of Zhao Feng. They knew that this was the ninth god Ai's ability. Otherwise, how could it be so absurd that they couldn't see through it? Wherever Zhao Feng went, the members of the Sacred Land and Heaven's Legacy race would die, but the members of the Light Race Divine Kingdom were fine. Buish. Godlord Dreamcolor and Yu Luping rapidly approached Zhao Feng. At this moment, Zhao Feng's main consciousness was in the dream dimension. His main body did not have much ability, so Godlord Dreamcolor and Yu Luping were able to quickly catch up. A good chance. This kid is using some sort of eye bloodline technique, but his main body has become extremely weak. Yu Luping's eyes exploded with light. There was another secret art that was similar to Zhao Feng's current situation, the space transference eye. When using the space transference eye, one's sole intent would almost completely leave the main body. Attacking the main body at this time would definitely be the most effective. At this moment, Zhao Feng's main body's defenses were extremely low and had almost no ability to resist. Die! Yu Luping's face was cold and sinister, and the golden fragment in his hand unleashed a dazzling golden wave of energy. At this moment, a divine light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. Although the majority of his mind was in the dream dimension, his main body was still perfectly aware of what was going on in the outside world. It's enough, Zhao Feng muttered. Just now, he had already killed many of his enemies. The moment he withdrew from the dream dimension, the minds of the light race and ancient beasts returned to their main bodies. After all, intrusive dream was an area of effect attack, and it could pull in both enemies and allies. These people all felt like they had just been in a dream. In the dream, the members of the illusion god's Sacred Land and Heaven's Legacy race died one by one, and when they woke up, their enemies really had fallen. Buish. The dazzling golden wave of energy shot toward Zhao Feng like a bolt of lightning. Quite a few people nearby were injured by this metal law and immediately retreated. Xiao. Zhao Feng activated the 3 ancestral artifact fragments in the space-time robe and unleashed a blade of silver light. At this moment, his space-time robe had fused with 3 ancestral artifact fragments, 2 of which were space ancestral artifact fragments. This greatly increased the power of Zhao Feng's attacks. Boom! The silver light blade violently collided with the golden light blade wave, and in less than a moment, it pierced through the middle. This kid has 3 ancestral artifact fragments. Yu Luping was a little annoyed. He had just broken through to the second heaven, but he already had 3 ancestral artifact fragments. It was truly rare. One had to realize that not even third heaven god lords had ancestral artifact fragments. Boom! Yu Luping punched out repeatedly, shattering Zhao Feng's attacks. The situation is not good. This kid is too powerful. Godlord Dreamcolor watched the clash between Zhao Feng and Yu Luping, and then turned her attention to the other battlefields. In just a few moments, Zhao Feng had slaughtered almost all the second heaven god lords of the Sacred Land. And on the Heaven's Legacy race's side, 3 second heaven death god guards had been slain by Zhao Feng. The battle had once more become one-sided. Even though the illusion god's Sacred Land and the Heaven's Legacy race were working together, they were still unable to reverse the situation. Godlord Dreamcolor looked at Zhao Feng and the ninth god Ai, her mind filled with apprehension. Godlord Dreamcolor, only if you and I work together and defeat Zhao Feng can we reverse the situation. Yu Luping messaged. Okay. Godlord Dreamcolor nodded. Yu Luping also backed down. What he said just now was not to kill Zhao Feng, but to defeat, as he sensed that the 2 third heaven god lords were working together. Zhao Feng's expression turned grave. After all, his enemies were 2 third heaven god lords, and both of them were extremely unusual. But at this moment, hisses. The winds and clouds shifted as that strange space-time pressure gradually weakened. What's going on? On the battlefield, the enemy members were confused. The pressure on their bodies had suddenly vanished, and they instantly felt extremely relaxed. The battle is about to end. This old man will personally take action. A spatial passage suddenly appeared in the sky, and loud laughter came from within. Swish! A white figure suddenly flew out. This was none other than Twilight Valley. At this time, the enemy members were at a disadvantage. Even without the suppression of the Divine Kingdom, they would find it very difficult to reverse the situation. Moreover, the enemy only had a few elites left. Previously, Twilight Valley had the advantage of being able to single-handedly suppress all of them, which was extremely effective. But in the current situation, Twilight Valley's suppression of these people was far less effective than him personally taking the field. One had to realize that Twilight Valley was also a third Heaven God Lord with the Light Race bloodline. Yu Luping and God Lord Dreamcolor both grimaced. Although their suppression had vanished, an even greater problem had arisen. Zhao Feng, leave this old man to me. Twilight Valley looked at Yu Luping, his eyes flashing with cold, killing intent. Okay. Zhao Feng chuckled as he charged at God Lord Dreamcolor. Retreat. God Lord Dreamcolor immediately ordered. The situation was getting worse and worse. If they continued to stay here, all the people she had brought with her might be wiped out, and her own life would be in danger. Want to leave? Do you think that's possible? Zhao Feng coldly sneered as he gathered primal chaos energy and tribulation lightning energy into a primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. Swoosh, swoosh. Countless bolts of primal chaos tribulation lightning energy howled forward, sealing off God Lord Dreamcolor's path of retreat. A five-colored ribbon of light appeared in God Lord Dreamcolor's hand. She waved it around, transforming it into 5 dazzling streams of light that revolved around her, blocking all the primal chaos tribulation lightning energy. You're already an arrow at the end of its flight. Zhao Feng coldly chuckled. Using Boundless Nightmare had already consumed a great deal of energy, and he had also been injured in his battle with Yu Luping and the God Killer Cannon. Although she was no longer suppressed by the Divine Kingdom, God Lord Dreamcolor found it hard to use much of her strength. Zhao Feng, when it's possible to forgive, one should forgive. If you let me go now, you can quickly leave this place yourself. God Lord Dreamcolor's tone became weak and helpless. At this moment, she was advising Zhao Feng to leave as quickly as possible. After all, it had been some time since the Sacred Land attacked the Light Race Divine Kingdom. Many of the experts waiting in the Chixing Zone for the Ninth God to appear might have already learned of everything and were on their way. Then I'll kill you as quickly as possible and then leave. Zhao Feng's expression turned grave. Now that God Lord Dreamcolor had given him this warning, he needed to treat this matter with caution. God Lord Dreamcolor's lips twitched at these words. Her advice had the opposite effect, prompting Zhao Feng to attack her with all his strength. Zhao Feng, it won't be that easy to kill me. Once the other experts get here, I don't believe that you can fight against the entire Chixing Zone. God Lord Dreamcolor coldly snorted and disdainfully said, It's not up to you to decide whether it's easy or not. Zhao Feng's eyes darkened, his left eye turning, and a miniature primal chaos divine sword shot forward. Ooish! In a dark flash, the primal chaos divine sword pierced through God Lord Dreamcolor's body. Hiss! God Lord Dreamcolor screamed as she endured the pain and continued to flee. The illusion god race had a special constitution and was skilled in the illusion Tao. Their soul intents were rather strong, so they had a certain resistance to the primal chaos divine sword. Primal chaos lock. Zhao Feng suddenly unleashed vast amounts of primal chaos energy, which transformed into several streams of primal chaos energy that engulfed God Lord Dreamcolor. Myriad transformations. God Lord Dreamcolor clenched her teeth and burned her bloodline energy. In a flash, her body began to multiply, and one figure after another charged out. This figure was none other than God Lord Dreamcolor. Then a second and a third figure that looked exactly the same rushed out from within. Swoosh! 100 identical figures charged out of God Lord Dreamcolor's body, and each of them had the same soul energy and bloodline energy as God Lord Dreamcolor's. In the end, God Lord Dreamcolor turned into 1,000 identical figures that scattered and fled into the distance. How foolish! Zhao Feng was only a little surprised, but then he gave a disdainful smile. Anyone else would have immediately been confused and unable to tell the difference. 1 second was enough for God Lord Dreamcolor, who was skilled in speed, to escape. But all these confusing figures vanished before Zhao Feng's eyes. The real God Lord Dreamcolor had nowhere to hide. Lock. Zhao Feng controlled the streams of primal chaos energy to wrap around the real God Lord Dreamcolor. How could this be? God Lord Dreamcolor paled. A moment later, Zhao Feng discovered her true body. Boom! Bang! Crash! God Lord Dreamcolor took out the ancestral artifact fragment and unleashed an ice law to block Zhao Feng's attack. But primal chaos energy was almost unstoppable. This ice energy was incapable of stopping the primal chaos energy, and part of it was even absorbed by the primal chaos energy. In the end, countless streams of primal chaos energy completely surrounded God Lord Dreamcolor. Zhao Feng, if you kill me, the illusion god's sacred land won't let you go. A look of despair appeared on God Lord Dreamcolor's face. She looked at the person in front of her with hatred and helplessness, but she still had to put on a pleading expression. Lock. Zhao Feng's expression was emotionless, his killing intent determined. Hissus. The streams of primal chaos energy instantly contracted and engulfed God Lord Dreamcolor. No! God Lord Dreamcolor screamed in despair. Gradually, a dangerous and forbidden energy began to emerge from the streams of primal chaos energy. Zhao Feng knew that God Lord Dreamcolor wanted to self-detonate in order to take him down with her. Intrusive dream. Zhao Feng once more activated his dream god, origin bloodline technique, and a soul-pulling force engulfed God Lord Dreamcolor. Don't even think about it. Let's die together, Zhao Feng. God Lord Dreamcolor did her utmost to resist, gathering up energy to self-detonate. But the streams of primal chaos energy engulfing her were constantly devouring all the energy in her body. Moreover, her mind was being pulled on by Zhao Feng's left eye. For the time being, she was unable to self-detonate. A few moments later, God Lord Dreamcolor didn't have much energy left in her body. Even if she self-detonated, Zhao Feng wouldn't fear it. Die! Zhao Feng grunted, his primal chaos energy transforming into countless chaos origin divine swords that pulverized God Lord Dreamcolor's body. God Lord Dreamcolor, the blue-haired old woman, the yellow-robed man, and the others all trembled when they saw Zhao Feng kill God Lord Dreamcolor. But a moment later, they threw caution to the wind and fled. This was because after Zhao Feng killed God Lord Dreamcolor, he raised his head and glanced at them, a glance that made their hair stand on end. Chapter 15:11. The death of God Lord Dreamcolor dealt a massive mental blow to the remaining members of the illusion god Sacred Land. And after killing God Lord Dreamcolor, Zhao Feng's gaze fell on them, causing their hairs to stand on end and their bodies to tremble in fear. Run! The old woman threw caution to the wind and used a secret bloodline art to flee toward the massive gap in the light race divine kingdom. This gap had been blasted open by the Heaven's legacy race and had sustained considerable damage. Twilight Valley had been so focused on the battle that he had not repaired it. Want to leave? Zhao Feng coldly snorted as he activated his space-time law and instant movement. He had even killed God Lord Dreamcolor. One could say that he had completely formed a grudge with the illusion god Sacred Land. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to be merciful. He would kill as many members of the illusion god Sacred Land as he could, or else they would all become his enemies in the future. Thwish! Space rippled as Zhao Feng rapidly approached the blue-haired old woman. The other members of the illusion god Sacred Land could be left to his clones and the ancient beasts, but only Zhao Feng could deal with the third heaven old woman. The fleeing old woman watched as Zhao Feng got closer and closer. Zhao Feng was so fast that it seemed like he was about to catch up to her. She circulated her with law and swung her jade staff. Kaboom! Her body glowed with green light, and then many thick wooden vines suddenly erupted from it. These vines seemed to have a life of their own as they surged toward the rear. Zhao Feng showed no fear in the face of the old woman's secret art. He swung the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword again and again, its dreadful destructive power obliterating all the wooden vines in front of him. Hisses! But these wooden vines had exuberant vitality and seemed to be able to grow endlessly. They emerged from the green light and continued to attack Zhao Feng. Just when Zhao Feng was about to go around it, the vines once more began to wrap around him from all directions. In this situation, Zhao Feng could only destroy the source. Primal Chaos Lock. Zhao Feng unleashed two enormous streams of primal chaos energy that shot toward the green source of light in the distance. In an instant, the chaotic turbulence swirled, enveloped him, and rapidly contracted. Under the suppression of the primal chaos lock, the power of the green light source was gradually devoured, and the giant vines between heaven and earth gradually withered. In the distance, the fleeing old woman was startled when she saw Zhao Feng resolve her secret art so quickly. After personally witnessing Zhao Feng kill God, Lord Dreamcolor, the blue-haired old woman had gained some understanding of Zhao Feng and knew that some of the secret escape arts of the illusion god race might be useless against Zhao Feng. Therefore, she came up with this move to obstruct Zhao Feng. Although it was effective, it was still quickly dealt with by Zhao Feng. Earth-shaking explosion. A large amount of chaotic energy gathered in Zhao Feng's left eye and formed a dark silver ball. Whoosh! The round ball instantly burst out and attacked the blue-haired old woman who was fleeing in front of him. The blue-haired old woman sensed Zhao Feng's ocular technique attack and prepared to dodge. Boom! Bang! Crash! But before she could even begin to dodge, the silver ball suddenly exploded. The earth-shaking explosion would explode once it struck its target, but Zhao Feng had only caused it to explode prematurely. A powerful and chaotic wave of divine power struck the blue-haired old woman's body. Although the strength of this divine power attack was not great and was not enough to seriously injure the blue-haired old woman, the space-time laws descended upon her body and affected her. Damn space-time law! The blue-haired old woman angrily cursed, her mind agitated. If not for the space-time law, Zhao Feng would not have been able to move so quickly, and she would not have been affected. She would have been able to smoothly escape. At this moment, a powerful ripple of divine power descended. The blue-haired old woman turned and fired off several waves of green light. Boom! Bang! Crash! The green waves collided with Zhao Feng's primal chaos tribulation lightning slash, but only took a few moments for it to shatter. Let me send you to accompany God, Lord Dreamcolor. Zhao Feng, brimming with killing intent, wildly swung his primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. In the face of Zhao Feng's powerful attack, the blue-haired old woman circulated her divine power to form a barrier of wood-grain light around her body. Boom! Bang! However, the wood-grain barrier did not last for long before Zhao Feng blasted it apart. The old woman was struck twice by Zhao Feng's sword, leaving 2 bloody gashes on her body as she was sent flying. Zhao Feng, God King Nethercloud will be here soon. You're doomed. The blue-haired old woman spat out a mouthful of blood and viciously glared at Zhao Feng. There is no need to think to know that God King Nethercloud was the God King of the illusion god Sacred Land. In truth, Zhao Feng also found it strange that the God Kings of the Sacred Land had not moved. But Zhao Feng did not believe the blue-haired old woman. An enemy's words could not be so easily trusted. Perhaps the blue-haired old woman was planning to use this to disturb and frighten Zhao Feng so that she could escape. But this also made Zhao Feng wary. He needed to end this battle as quickly as possible and then leave. Dreamification. Origin energy surged out of Zhao Feng's left eye. Dreamy mist spun out his left eye and seeped into the surrounding space. In a flash, with Zhao Feng at the center, everything within a certain distance was covered in dreamy colors. This feeling, the blue-haired old woman suddenly felt her essence, energy, and all aspects of her condition rapidly deteriorating. An indescribable sense of crisis also arose in her heart. Extinguish. Zhao Feng stared at the blue-haired old woman, his thought power forming an intense thought. Not good. The blue-haired old woman suddenly recalled that Zhao Feng had used this move before and inexplicably killed the majority of the Illusion God Sacred Land members. She immediately activated her bloodline and circulated her laws to resist this mysterious and unfathomable power. Unfortunately, after the consecutive battles and the use of Infinite Nightmare, he did not have much bloodline power left. Illish. Zhao Feng swung the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword at the blue-haired old woman. While maintaining dreamification, Zhao Feng's strength would decrease. But the blue-haired old woman was already at the end of her rope and was even weaker. Bang! The blue-haired old woman gritted her teeth and freed her hand to unleash a green ball of light at Zhao Feng's attack. But even more primal chaos tribulation lightning sword energy descended. While resisting dreamification, the blue-haired old woman's condition was even worse. Boom! Plush! The blue-haired old woman did her best to resist, but 3 sword energies still slashed at her body. At the same time, because she was distracted too much, dreamification took advantage of this and caused a small part of her body to dissipate. As a result, her injuries became even more severe. Die. Zhao Feng used his primal chaos energy and tribulation lightning energy to unleash a powerful attack. No! The blue-haired old woman called out in fear as she took out her divine kingdom. A dark green passage appeared in the air, and she fled into it. But Zhao Feng moved with incredible speed, and before the passage closed, he had already entered. Elder? The yellow-robed man from the Illusion God's Sacred Land couldn't help but call out in alarm. Logically speaking, escaping into one's divine kingdom should have the advantage. Swish! A little while later, another passage appeared in the air, and a silver-robed figure emerged. Now that Zhao Feng had come out alive, the Illusion God Sacred Land members knew the result. Zhao Feng had the absolute advantage. Even if the blue-haired old woman fled into her divine kingdom, she would still die. On the other hand, this divine kingdom was now ownerless and had been taken away by Zhao Feng. The blue-haired old woman was the second third heaven god Lord Zhao Feng had killed after his breakthrough. Of course, both the old woman and God Lord Dreamcolor were injured and not at their peak. Illish. After killing the blue-haired old woman, Zhao Feng continued to attack the remaining members of the Illusion God Sacred Land. After seeing Zhao Feng kill 2 third heaven god lords of their sacred land, Zhao Feng's terror had been deeply engraved in their minds. Seeing Zhao Feng attack, they were scared out of their wits and began to flee. But with Zhao Feng's speed and attacks, he could easily kill these people. A few moments later, the Illusion God's Sacred Land was completely annihilated. At this moment, Zhao Feng was looking at the distant Heaven's Legacy Race battlefield. Illish. Yu Lu Ping and the remaining Heaven's Legacy Race members were riding on a silver-gray metal disc as they fled. As it turned out, when Zhao Feng killed God, Lord Dreamcolor, and the blue-haired old woman, the Heaven's Legacy Race chose to retreat. The metal disc was extremely fast as it fled, but Twilight Valley was not slow either. He followed closely behind, his face cold with killing intent. Illish. Zhao Feng immediately rushed over to intercept Yu Luping. Zhao Feng, His Excellency, the Heaven Lord is on his way. You're doomed. Yu Liuping's face was filled with hatred. Heaven Lord! The mention of this name caused Zhao Feng's heart to tremble. The Heaven Lord had left an extremely deep impression on him during his time in the Heaven's Legacy Race Divine Kingdom. He was confident that if he faced the Heaven Lord now, he would be powerless to resist and would be doomed without even a chance of escape. Senior Twilight Valley, go repair the Divine Kingdom and prepare to leave. Leave this person to me. Zhao Feng messaged. The Heaven Lord was determined to obtain the 9th God Eye, and as a member of the Heaven's Legacy Race, Yu Luping must have immediately notified the Heaven Lord. Thus, Zhao Feng was somewhat worried. Okay, Twilight Valley immediately left. The Heaven's legacy race was truly difficult to deal with. He would find it very difficult to kill someone of the same level. In addition, he had a deep understanding of how terrifying the Heaven's legacy race was. If there really were some other experts on their way, relocating truly was the most important thing. Yu Luping rejoiced. If he had to face both Twilight Valley and the Ninth God Eye at the same time, he was likely to die, but if he had to face any one of them alone, he was extremely confident in escaping. But suddenly, Yu Luping sensed a familiar and powerful energy. This is the energy of the Heaven's legacy race bloodline. Yu Luping was alarmed. Was it reinforcements? But he did not call for reinforcements. At this moment, a dark silver light surged out of the gap in the divine kingdom. It's the energy of the Heaven's legacy race, and it's very strong. Zhao Feng was stunned. Yu Luping had said that the Heaven Lord was on his way, and now that this was happening, he even suspected that the Heaven Lord was coming. Kaboom! That dark silver divine radiance arrived in the sky and surged unceasingly. It turned into a huge, illusory figure that emitted boundless might. This was a stalwart elder with a grizzled beard and hair. He had a simple gray shell on his back, and this shell was covered in many ancient and profound images. The elder's eyes were as deep as the universe, and as he looked down, he seemed to be able to see everything. Heaven's legacy race. Within the divine kingdom, the light race, the ancient beasts, and the giant god race all felt like they were facing a powerful foe. Based on this person's features, there was no doubt that he was a member of the Heaven's legacy race. Moreover, the aura and might exuded by this image made everyone present feel an immense pressure. It's not the Heaven Lord, Zhao Feng mentally muttered. Even so, the Heaven's legacy race was unfathomable, so it was not strange for it to have a top-class expert that he had never seen before. Yu Luping, on the other hand, was utterly shocked. Tianwu. Yu Luping's mouth fell open, somewhat speechless. He had originally wondered if some expert from the nearby heaven-defying faction had come. But to his surprise, it was Yu Tianwu. Zhao Feng, we finally meet again. Yu Tianwu looked at Zhao Feng, a warm smile on his face. Chapter 15:12. In the light race divine kingdom, when Yu Tianwu's image appeared, at the edge of the Qixing zone, BZZZ, swoosh, a spatial whirlpool suddenly appeared in the air, and a figure slowly emerged from within. This black-robed elder's black hair flowed like a pitch-black waterfall, and his deep black eyes gleamed with cold and sinister light. The moment he appeared, the surrounding space seemed to freeze and become extremely heavy. This person was none other than the God King expert of the Qixing Zone's illusion god sacred land, God King Nethercloud. Ninth God Eye, I didn't think that you would be in the Qixing Zone. God King Nethercloud softly muttered. He had received news that Zhao Feng had appeared in the Tongtai Zone and obtained the legacy of the heaven-mending race. In less than 2 or 3 months, Zhao Feng had traversed several major zones and arrived in the Qixing Zone. If not for the fact that this news had come from God Lord Dreamcolor, he would have never believed it. For some reason, even though he knew the exact location of the Ninth God Eye, God King Nethercloud still felt inexplicably uneasy. Once I obtained the Ninth God Eye, I might become a god again. But when he thought about the Ninth God Eye, God King Nethercloud found it hard to suppress his excitement. Just when God King Nethercloud was prepared to move out, he received a message from a high-ranking elder of the illusion god sacred land. What? The Nightmare Beast King is about to break the seal? God King Nethercloud's body trembled. The Nightmare Beast King was a terrifying ancient beast sealed within the illusion god sacred land that was close to the God King level. Its level was so high that even God King Nethercloud would find it difficult to tame unless he invited a God King level beast tamer. This requirement was far too harsh, so the illusion god sacred land sealed it in its forbidden ground. Moreover, the invisible energy the Nightmare Beast King exuded was beneficial to the disciples of the illusion god sacred land. allowing them to comprehend the illusion Tao and dream Tao. The Nightmare Beast King had also contributed to the illusion god Sacred Land's prosperity and strength. The seal that suppresses the Nightmare Beast King is strengthened every 1,000,000 years. There should still be 5,000 years left. Why did it break so early? God King Nethercloud was rather vexed. The Nightmare Beast King was incredibly powerful. Besides a God King, several Third Heaven God Lords were needed to suppress it. And once the Nightmare Beast King broke through the seal, given its hatred for the Holy Land, it would definitely retaliate. At that time, the illusion god Sacred Land would suffer a massive blow, and the entire Chixing region would also welcome a calamity. It could be said that once the Nightmare Beast King broke through the seal and was not stopped in time, the entire Chixing district would be destroyed. For a moment, God King Nethercloud was caught between a rock and a hard place. If he went to capture the ninth god eye, the Sacred Land, and the Chixing Zone would suffer an unimaginable disaster. He felt that all of this was too coincidental. Just as he was about to return to the Chixing Zone to capture the ninth god eye, the Nightmare Beast King was about to break the seal. The illusion god Sacred Land is the foundation established by the ancestors of the illusion god race for 10 billion years. It cannot be destroyed. This god also has a plan to deal with the ninth god eye. In the end, God King Nethercloud made his decision. He could not lose either. Whoosh! The dark clouds moved, and a black-robed middle-aged man appeared. This black-robed middle-aged man was his clone. He looked rather similar to God King Nethercloud, just like his younger self. "Let's split up," God King Nethercloud called out, and then he vanished. Whoosh! The black-robed man flew off in another direction. God King Nethercloud's clone had 40% of his strength. Even if it couldn't capture the ninth god eye, it could still hold it down. Once God King Nethercloud finished dealing with the Nightmare Beast King, he could hurry over. At the same time, in the Light Race Divine Kingdom, a towering figure floated in the sky, causing everyone in the Divine Kingdom to stare at it with extreme solemnity. "Zhao Feng, we finally meet again." Yu Qianwu looked at Zhao Feng, a warm smile on his face. Zhao Feng was stunned. It wasn't strange that someone from the Heaven's legacy race knew of him, but from the other party's words, it seemed like they had met before. Why didn't Zhao Feng have any impression of him? Clink clang. The little thieving cat threw out a few bronze coins, its eyes flashing. In the distance, Yu Luping was alarmed. He had never imagined that Yu Qianwu's space transference figure would descend here. It seems like the Sage faction will still try to stop the Heaven Lord's plan. Yu Luping said to himself. Though-ish. Yu Qianwu took control of the silver-gray metal disc and swiftly left. "Want to leave?" Zhao Feng's expression chilled as he prepared to attack. But at the same time, he was rather confused. Wasn't this space transference figure also a member of the Heaven's legacy race? Why was Yu Luping madly fleeing in fear? At this moment, Zhao Feng, God King Nethercloud, has already returned to the Chixing Zone. Hurry up and leave this place. Yu Qianwu slowly made his move. He only glanced at Yu Luping indifferently and did not bother with him. God King Nethercloud. The mention of this name caused everyone's hearts to tremble. God King Nethercloud was a God King expert of the illusion god Sacred Land. Not even Twilight Valley was confident that he could last more than a few blows from God King Nethercloud. "Just who are you?" Zhao Feng immediately asked. Why was this person from the Heaven's legacy race informing them of this? At this moment, Zhao Feng was in no mood to kill Yu Luping. If God King Nethercloud really was on his way, God King Nethercloud would probably be here by the time he killed Yu Luping. "One of my clones once lived in the Azure Flower Continent's 6 Warlock Divine Tower for a period of time." Yu Qianwu gave a simple explanation. 6 Warlock. Zhao Feng's mind trembled as he instantly understood. He had long ago guessed that the 6 Warlock Divine Sage was not simple, but he hadn't expected that the 6 Warlock Divine Sage was just a clone. Now, the 6 Warlock Divine Sage's main body had used a space transference figure to appear. The 6 Warlock Divine Sage had definitely guessed that Zhao Feng was the 9th God Eye, but he had not taken the eye. Thus, Zhao Feng speculated that the six-warlock divine sage of the Heaven's legacy race might not be an enemy. At the side, Xi Wuheng also revealed a shocked expression. "You're from a sage faction, right?" Twilight Valley asked. When the heaven-defying faction attacked the light race, the sage faction had helped the light race, so Twilight Valley even had some impression of Yu Qianwu. The sage faction, Zhao Feng understood. Many experts of the ancient desolate realm of gods knew a little about the Heaven's legacy race. This extremely intelligent race was not peaceful and was divided into two factions. One was the heaven-defying faction, which defied the heavens. The other was the sage faction, which followed the will of the heavens and assisted all living beings. This meant that the Heaven's legacy race members led by the Heaven Lord were probably from the heaven-defying faction. And Yu Tianwu belonged to the sage faction. This explained why the six-warlock divine sage had not taken Zhao Feng's ninth god eye. "That's right. If you have nowhere to go, you can come to where I am." Just as he finished speaking, Yu Qianwu's shadow suddenly dimmed a little. From this, one could see that Yu Qianwu's main body was extremely far away from the Chixing Zone. The light race and giant god race members fell into deep thought. They could no longer stay in the Chixing Zone, and Xi and Wuheng hadn't even thought about where they should move to. The sage faction truly was a safe place. Even if the sacred land found their tracks, it would not dare to behave atrociously in the sage faction's territory. He had hesitated because he didn't understand the sage faction very well and was worried. The light race shared his worries. "Sage, just what is the heaven-defying faction planning?" Zhao Feng suddenly asked. He had spent some time in the heaven-defying faction's divine kingdom and spent some time with the Heaven Lord. So Zhao Feng was confident that the Heaven Lord had some sort of plan, something that the Heaven's legacy race and the heaven-defying faction would fight over could not be ordinary. Zhao Feng even sensed that this matter was related to him. Otherwise, the Heaven Lord would not have paid such an enormous price to obtain the ninth god eye. Besides the heaven-defying faction, the faction most likely to know the answer was the sage faction. The sage faction and the heaven-defying faction have not interacted with each other for a very, very long time. I'm not very clear on this point, and I don't have the time to explain. Yu Tianwu hesitated for a few moments before shaking his head. The space-traversing figure became even dimmer, seemingly ready to vanish at any moment. "Senior, please tell this one the specific location." After some thought, Xi Wuheng finally made his decision. Twilight Valley was still hesitating. If Yu Qianwu was not deceiving them, and God King Nethercloud really was on his way, the consequences would be unimaginable if they did not leave as soon as possible. This is the specific location of the sage faction, as well as the route. Everything is up to you. Yu Qianwu's figure grew dimmer and dimmer. He sent a message into the minds of Zhao Feng, Xi and Wuheng, and Twilight Valley. After doing all this, Yu Qianwu's figure completely vanished. "Zhao Feng, what is your choice?" Twilight Valley asked Zhao Feng. "I want to go to the sage faction." Zhao Feng firmly replied. Yu Tianwu had long ago known that he was the ninth god eye, but he had not moved. Moreover, Zhao Feng's current accomplishments were largely due to the six warlock sages' push. This also proved the sage faction's motto: follow the will of the heavens and assist all living beings. As Yu Qianwu's figure vanished, a white figure suddenly appeared in Zhao Feng's mind, along with many questions. Back in the Chixing Zone, Zhao Feng had seen someone extremely similar to Lu Qinxin. Had he been hallucinating? Why had the Fan Luan ancient sound palace of Sky Qin Sacred Palace vanished? Where had the people inside gone? Perhaps the six warlock sage knew about Lu Qinxin or Lu Qinin's situation. In addition, if the sage faction truly had no ill intentions toward him, it truly was a safe harbor. Twilight Valley was rather surprised by Zhao Feng's answer. Even Zhao Feng, the ninth god eye, dared to go to the sage faction, so what did he have to fear? If the sage faction and the heaven-defying faction were enemies, he might be able to borrow the strength of the sage faction to take revenge on the heaven-defying faction. At the same time, In a certain large zone in the southern part of the ancient desolate realm of gods, two figures stood amidst the white clouds. One of them was Yu Tianwu, and the woman next to him was beautiful and noble, mysterious and ethereal. She was like a slender and elegant lotus in a misty lotus pond. Let's go. What needs to be done has been done. Now it's up to them to choose. Yu Qianwu's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened, revealing a look of exhaustion. Okay. Lu Qinxin simply said, her expression indifferent. The big lazy cat on her shoulder also yawned. It seemed to have no idea why the wise man and Lu Qinxin were here. Do you think he'll come? Yu Qianwu gave a gentle smile. Don't you already know the answer? A faint smile appeared on Lu Qinxin's beautiful face. Chapter 15:13. Less than half a day later, a black-robed middle-aged man arrived at the destination. But there were no signs of a divine kingdom here, and the spatial structure was not very stable. It was clear that a high-level battle had taken place here. I'm too late. The black-robed man sent a message to God King Nethercloud. In truth, God King Nethercloud had already guessed at the result when he returned to the illusion god's sacred land. The upper echelon members of the sacred land would use a sliver of their soul origin to create soul jades, which would be stored in the sacred land. Once a soul jade shattered, it meant death. The soul jades of the sacred land members who had gone to the light race divine kingdom to capture the ninth god, I had all shattered. In these circumstances, the enemy had definitely fled. On that day, God King Nethercloud was enraged and attacked the Nightmare Beast King, sealing it once more. Afterward, God King Nethercloud dispatched all his people and even personally searched the Chixing Zone for Giant God Hall and Zhaophone. But after several months, there was still no clue. At the same time, in the heaven-defying faction Divine Kingdom, Yu Luping had a grim expression as he entered the Central Heaven's Legacy Island. Several divine emissaries, protectors, and even the Heaven Lord were gathered in the pitch-black palace at the top. Your Excellency, Heaven Lord, with my original strength, I was definitely able to capture Zhaophone, but Yu Luping got down on one knee and hurriedly explained. No matter what explanation you have, you still disobeyed my orders. The Heaven Lord's eyes were half closed, and his tone was flat, but it struck fear into Yu Liuping's heart. Yes, Yu Luping did not dare to retort, but there was one thing he had to say. This subordinate's failure this time was closely related to Yu Tianwu. Otherwise, the ninth god, I would have already been in our hands. At the mention of Yu Tianwu's name, the atmosphere in the palace instantly changed. The Heaven Lord opened his deep and boundless eyes. Tell me everything you know about this person in full detail. Although the divine emissaries present were not members of the Heaven's legacy race, they knew the surname Yu in this name. Yu Tianwu was the leader of the Heaven's legacy race's Sage faction. It had been a very, very long time since the Sage faction had appeared in their sights. They hadn't expected for the Sage faction to appear at such a crucial moment. At the time, the Light Race Divine Kingdom only had Yu Qianwu's projection. Yu Luping immediately told him everything about Yu Qianwu. In reality, his failure had nothing to do with Yu Qianwu, but by bringing this matter up, he could reduce the punishment of the Heavenly Lord. Looks like the Wise faction has some understanding of our plan. Now that we've reached a critical moment, I won't punish you. A sharp light flashed through the Heaven Lord's calm eyes. The heaven-defying faction's plans had always been strictly confidential. Not even the divine emissaries knew the specifics. But now that the Sage faction had suddenly appeared, he had no choice but to be on guard. Left Protector, how's the progress on the matter I asked you to investigate? The Heaven Lord turned to the Protector. The possibility of the Sage faction knowing about his plan was extremely low. What he needed to do now was to complete it as quickly as possible. At that time, everything would be a foregone conclusion, and even the Wise faction wouldn't be able to change anything. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, the ones most connected to Zhaophone are the spiritual race and Giant God Hall. Now that Giant God Hall has moved, only the spiritual race remains. Moreover, the place where Zhaophone first appeared was the Gulong Zone, the Protector slowly explained. The Heaven Lord wanted him to investigate everything about Zhao Feng in the ancient desolate realm of gods. Only by understanding everything about Zhao Feng could he find his weakness. The Xiling Zone, where the spiritual race resides, has the life god presiding over it. We cannot move against it right now. The Heaven Lord shook his head. This subordinate has also discovered that Zhao Feng has an extremely close relationship with the daughter of the spiritual race's prodigy, Zhao Yufei. One could say that Zhao Feng joined the spiritual race because of this woman. And now, this woman has left the spiritual race. The Protector smiled. Okay, you will personally carry out this mission. The Heaven Lord nodded. He felt more at ease with the Protector taking care of things. Down below, Yu Luping was startled. The left Protector was also a member of the Heaven's legacy race, a person of high status and authority. He hadn't expected for the Heaven Lord to have the Protector personally carry out this mission. However, this also meant that the Heaven Lord was determined to obtain the ninth God Eye. Zhao Feng was doomed. On the other end, Zhao Feng and Giant God Hall rode on the light race's divine kingdom and began the long journey to the Sage faction. The location given by Yu Tianwu was extremely far from the Qixing Zone, but this was also fine. They could avoid the trouble of the illusion god Sacred Land. Along the way, everyone was in seclusion. The light race shouldered the mission of vengeance and needed to get stronger. Giant God Hall was also facing an enemy in the form of the illusion god Sacred Land. Under pressure and humiliation, it was easier for people to stimulate their potential. At this time, Zhao Feng was also in the Divine Kingdom, beginning his long seclusion. He had just broken into the second heaven, so he needed to spend a great deal of time consolidating his cultivation. Every time he cultivated, he would restrict himself in various aspects and seek out opponents within the Divine Kingdom to temper himself. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng had spent 10-some years consolidating his cultivation. Of course, this was all within the Divine Kingdom. In this period of time, Zhao Feng's primal chaos energy had made significant progress, and, among his other intents, his lightning intent had successfully advanced to the level of a law. Perhaps this was because Zhao Feng had a lightning soul body, or perhaps it was because the dream god I had improved in terms of comprehension, allowing him to unexpectedly break through to the level of a law in the lightning Tao. Besides consolidating his cultivation and increasing his cultivation, Zhao Feng spent the majority of his time on the Dream God Eye. The Dream God had already reached the God Eye level, but Zhao Feng still had not been able to fully use its power. This was also limited by his cultivation. Besides researching Dream Eye bloodline techniques, Zhao Feng had not forgotten his previous path. Long ago, he had an idea. He wanted to fuse primal chaos energy into the Tribulation Lightning Eye Flame, or perhaps fuse the primal chaos divine sword into Tribulation Lightning energy. Now that Zhao Feng could easily use the primal chaos Tribulation Lightning sword, and he had also comprehended a law in the Lightning Tao, it was much easier for him to experiment with eye bloodline techniques. Swish! Lightning symbols appeared in Zhao Feng's left eye. At the same time, a miniature primal chaos divine sword formed within it, and the two slowly fused together. Ooish! All of a sudden, a sort of lightning shot out. Wherever it passed, it left a twisted scar in the air. The primal chaos divine sword fused with tribulation lightning energy had significantly increased its penetrative power and power. But Zhao Feng was not completely satisfied. His original plan was to fuse the Tribulation Lightning Eye Flame with the Primal Chaos Divine Sword, giving it an extraordinary power that could be unleashed instantly. Although the Primal Chaos Lightning Sword that Zhao Feng had comprehended was fast, it could not be unleashed instantly. There was still a chance of dodging it. 3 years later, the Light Race Divine Kingdom arrived at the western part of the ancient desolate realm of gods, the Thousand Mountain Zone. The Thousand Mountain Zone was adjacent to the Thousand Mountain Zone, and the Tiana Zone and the Tongtai Zone were two of them. Zhao Feng was rather surprised that the Sage faction was hiding here. Back then, Zhao Feng had been captured by the heaven-defying faction in the Tiana Zone, and then he had offended the Tongtai Zone's Golden Dragon Sacred Land. The Tongtai zone was probably still searching for him. However, he was confident that if he hid in the Sage faction's territory, the Golden Dragon Sacred Land would not be able to find him. Deep within the Misty Mountains, Exai and Wuheng, Twilight Valley, and Zhao Feng arrived at a cold and desolate valley. "This is the place," Twilight Valley softly said. At this moment, buzz, buzz. In the distance, the mist surged, forming a path. After passing through the path, a mysterious and beautiful land that seemed like a paradise appeared before everyone's eyes. The Sage faction's territory was a place of verdant hills and limpid waters. Shrouded in mist, it appeared mysterious and serene, as if all the clamor had left the mortal world. When the group arrived, they inexplicably calmed down. "Welcome, everyone. Lord Heaven Shaman invites you." Not far away, a sage in a pitch-black robe said gently. At the same time, his eyes examined Zhao Feng. Under the guidance of this sage, the group began to walk through the territory of the Sage faction. The world was a vast expanse of white, but in this pure white world, one could see the tips of many black towers. And in the center of this world, there was an unusually majestic, mysterious, and ancient pitch-black tower. The Heaven's Legacy race, the Sage faction. Exai and Wuheng found it difficult to calm his excitement. The Heaven's Legacy race was the third-ranked mythical race, and he was about to meet the leader of the Heaven's Legacy race's Sage faction. Each of them had countless questions and problems in their minds. The Heaven's Legacy race was the most intelligent race. Perhaps Giant God Hall would be able to obtain the guidance of fate here. Upon reaching the top floor, the group realized that there were only 5 people in this quiet and spacious space, making it seem rather empty. They focused their gazes on the 2 people in front of them. One of them had an appearance completely similar to the projection that had appeared in the Light Race Divine Kingdom. The woman next to him was serene, mysterious, and beautiful. "Sage," Zhao Feng was stunned. He had originally planned to ask Yu Tianwu for help. Where had Fan Lun Ancient Sound Palace and Lu Qinxin gone? Why did he see a woman who looked extremely similar to Lu Qinxin in the ancient desolate realm of gods? But now, this mysterious woman who looked extremely similar to Lu Qinxin was standing right next to Yu Tianwu. Of course, Exai and Wuheng and Twilight Valley were also rather surprised to see this white-clothed woman. Back in the Light Race Divine Kingdom, when they had fought with the Heaven's Legacy race's Yuhang, they had seen a figure that looked extremely similar to this woman, and that cat had also been there. So that's how it was. Was it the Sage faction that helped the Light Race? Twilight Valley inwardly sighed. It seemed that the Sage faction was truly different from the Heaven-defying faction. He had made the right choice this time. As for Exai and Wuheng, he felt that the woman before him was very familiar. Who are you?" Zhao Feng carefully examined the white-clothed woman. "Feng, we meet again." At that moment, the other party said with a complicated expression, "Are you Lu Qinxin or Lu Qinin?" The woman's words caused Zhao Feng's mind to go blank. "A name is just a code. All you need to know is that I am that person. It doesn't matter what you call me." Although the woman in white had a calm expression on her face, everyone could sense her joyful mood at the moment. "It really is you, Qinxin." Zhao Feng found this somewhat hard to believe. The woman before him really was that person from the Continent Zone. Since she had said that Lu Qinxin and Lu Qinin were both her, it didn't matter what she was called. Zhao Feng chose the name Lu Qinxin. After all, he had more memories of this name. Meow meow. At this moment, the little thieving cat leapt out of the interspatial dimension and looked around with wide eyes. At the same time, the big lazy cat on Lu Qinxin's shoulder opened its lazy eyes. When it saw the little thieving cat, it immediately revealed a look of disdain. Meow meow. The little thieving cat grunted and puffed out its chest. It glanced at the big lazy cat provocatively. Chapter 15:14. The conversation between the 2 cats shattered the atmosphere. Within the tall tower, several experienced sages looked thoughtfully at the little thieving cat. Zhao Feng coughed and looked at Yu Tianwu. Although Yu Tianwu had already said that the 6th Warlock Divine Sage of the Continent Zone was one of his clones, Zhao Feng was not as familiar with Yu Qianwu as he was with the sage. Sage, just what is the background of this cat? Zhao Feng pointed at the little thieving cat and asked. The Heaven's Legacy cat was the highest secret of the Heaven's Legacy race, so Yu Qianwu definitely knew about it. The question was whether or not he was willing to talk about it. I didn't think that the Heaven's Legacy cat at your side had already grown to this level, Yu Qianwu said in surprise as he carefully examined the little thieving cat. Zhao Feng looked at the big lazy cat on Lu Qinxin's back. The little thieving cat's recent growth was mainly in size and the changes in the patterns on its body, but it seemed that the big lazy cat was not one bit inferior to the little thieving cat. The big lazy cat had always been very large, and its body was covered in many silver stripes. The Heaven's Legacy cat was originally implanted with the bloodline of the Heaven's Legacy race, and it also had other abilities. It was the best partner for the Heaven's Legacy race. But later on, the Heaven-defying faction used the Heaven's Legacy cat to carry out the ancient race duplication project. Yu Qianwu's sudden words left Zhao Feng stunned. The Heaven's Legacy cat? The ancient race duplication project? Zhao Feng blurted out. Yu Qianwu's words shocked Xian Wuheng in Twilight Valley. This cat was actually related to the ancient race, the number 1 race of the 10,000 ancient races. They had heard that the Heaven's Legacy race wanted to control the ancient race bloodline, but they had no idea what the specifics were. The ancient race bloodline is too powerful. Less than 1 in several billion people can safely fuse with it. But the creatures created by the Heaven's Legacy race can be modified. Moreover, once the Heaven's Legacy cat successfully fuses with the ancient race bloodline, it means that the Heaven's Legacy race can also fuse with the ancient race bloodline. Yu Qianwu revealed a shocking matter. Twilight Valley and Xian Wuheng were stunned. As expected, the Heaven's Legacy race wanted to control the power of the ancient race. Then this thieving cat. Zhao Feng hadn't expected the little thieving cat to be hiding such a secret. It was no wonder that the Heaven's Legacy race desired the Heaven's Legacy cat so much, even nurturing it. It turned out that it was for its bloodline. At the same time, Zhao Feng was pleasantly surprised. The little thieving cat was so powerful. If it was properly raised, it would definitely be of great help. However, your Heaven's Legacy cat is a failure, Yu Qianwu said again. Zhao Feng was stunned. The little thieving cat was a failure. Meow meow, the little thieving cat immediately became extremely dissatisfied. It gestured and said that it was unique and not a failure. Haha, although it's a failure, it's mutated, creating many variables. It's already broken away from the original Heaven's Legacy cat, produced by the Heaven's Legacy race. Although it doesn't have the bloodline of the ancient races, it seems to have the ability to simulate the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. Yu Qianwu continued with a smile. Hearing this, the little thieving cat didn't pursue the matter any further. Imitate the 10,000 ancient races. Zhao Feng carefully thought about it and realized that this was indeed the case. The little thieving cat could use the secret arts of many bloodline races, but it could at most imitate 10 some ancient races. The top 10 bloodlines were much more difficult. Of course, according to Yu Qianwu, the little thieving cat still had room to grow. With this, Zhao Feng's puzzle about the little thieving cat was solved. Sage, why did you send your clone to the continent zone? As they chatted, Zhao Feng realized that the sage was rather easygoing, even revealing the highest secrets of the Heaven's Legacy race. Thus, Zhao Feng also became more casual. The dimension outside the ancient desolate realm of gods was called the outer dimension, and there were countless dimensions similar to the continent zone in the outer dimension. Why would the leader of the sage faction, Yu Qianwu, leave a clone in the continent zone? What was his goal? The little thieving cat? Or the ninth god eye? The Heaven's Legacy race is a race from beyond the heavens. You should know this, right? Yu Qianwu was rather surprised, clearly not expecting Zhao Feng to ask this question, but he still answered bluntly. Beyond the heavens. The crowd was startled. The Heaven's Legacy race truly had suddenly appeared in the fan universe during the ancient era. The world beyond the heavens had always been a mystery to them. The original civilization of the Heavens Legacy race was destroyed, and it split into several branches to explore the primal chaos world beyond the heavens. Our branch inadvertently fell into this strange world and became unable to communicate with the outside world. I am currently searching for a chance to leave this place. Back then, I deduced many points of opportunity, and I have clones in almost all of these dimensions. The continent zone that you live in is one of them. Yu Tianwu explained the reason. As it turned out, there were many small dimensions in the outer dimension that had Yu Tianwu's clones. The Sixth Warlock Sage was just one of them. Leave this place. Zhao Feng still couldn't understand this, and neither could the others. Up until now, no one had ever left the fan universe, and many of the great powers of the ancient era believed that this was the only world. Later on, the arrival of the Heavens Legacy race shattered this belief. This chance might be on you, Yu Tianwu said. Of course, Yu Tianwu couldn't be certain of this. The ninth god, I had too many variables and possibilities. Zhao Feng said nothing. He didn't know much about the ninth god eye. Yu Tianwu said that the chance for the Heavens Legacy race to leave the fan universe was on him, and Zhao Feng couldn't help him. In addition, Zhao Feng was still skeptical about this point. No one had left the fan universe for countless years, and even after the birth of the 8 great god eyes, he had never heard of such a theory. How could this possibility appear just because of the 9th god eye? Then what is the heaven-defying faction's goal? Zhao Feng asked. The heaven-defying faction was also a member of the Heavens Legacy race. Could their goal be the same as the Sage factions? Leaving the fan universe. Their goal might be the same as ours, but this old man isn't sure what they are planning. However, I can speculate that once the heaven-defying faction's plan succeeds, the entire ancient desolate realm of gods will suffer a calamity. Yu Tianwu thought for a few moments before sighing. I feel like their goal is different from the Sage factions. Twilight Valley coldly snorted. He felt extreme hatred for the heaven-defying faction. He did not believe that they would commit such despicable acts for this goal. I don't know this yet, but the heaven-defying faction's plan is definitely connected to the 9th god eye. Thus, Zhao Feng, you should stay here for now. Once you can completely use the power of the 9th god eye, you won't have to fear anything. Yu Tianwu voiced his thoughts. This was also what Zhao Feng was thinking. He rather trusted Yu Tianwu's conjectures. Of course, Lu Qinxin was also part of the reason. If the heaven-defying faction succeeded, it would wreak a massive calamity on the entire ancient desolate realm of gods. He did not want to see this. The last ancient war had caused the entire ancient desolate realm of gods to fall apart. The 10,000 races had suffered heavy losses, and some had even been wiped out. If such a thing were to happen again, who knew what would happen to the fan universe? We've also disturbed you, Xin Wuheng politely said. On his first day at the Sage faction, he had learned of such an astonishing secret. It seemed like his choice had been correct. Zhao Feng, Giant God Hall, and the Light Race remained in the Sage faction for the time being. Lu Qinxin, where did your Eye of Destiny come from? Zhao Feng looked at Lu Qinxin in confusion. In the continent zone, Lu Qinxin didn't have an eye bloodline. A legacy from the fan, Luan Ancient Sound Palace. Lu Qinxin calmly said. So, the fan Luan Ancient Sound Palace was actually this special. Zhao Feng softly sighed. The fan Luan Ancient Sound Palace had not only given Lu Qinxin an eye bloodline, but it also allowed her to ascend and enter the ancient desolate realm of gods. How did you come to the Sage faction? Zhao Feng continued to ask. Although Lu Qinxin was noble and mysterious, calm and elegant, Zhao Feng felt a sense of familiarity. After taking Zhao Feng to his private residence, Lu Qinxin left. Just like that, Zhao Feng's group temporarily resided in the Sage faction. The Sage faction also had quite a few crystallizations of the Heavens Legacy race's wisdom, which were beneficial for cultivation. The little thieving cat was also nowhere to be seen, apparently exploring the place. When Zhao Feng wasn't cultivating, he could also see Lu Qinxin. Although they didn't seem to have much to talk about, once they started to talk, they would forget about time, as if their conversation would never end. In the sage faction, Zhao Feng used several years to completely consolidate his cultivation. He began to cultivate the primal chaos scripture and advance to a higher level. He originally believed that the following days would be peaceful and uneventful. One day, Yu Qianwu once more invited Zhao Feng over. The atmosphere within the tower was solemn. "What bad news is there?" Zhao Feng sensed that something was wrong. Anything that could make the sage faction so serious could not be good. The heaven-defying faction is determined to obtain the ninth god eye. You hid for several years, so they thought of another way to force you out. Yu Qianwu said, "It really is related to the heaven-defying faction." Zhao Feng's eyes focused. "Feng, martial ancestor, and I have deduced that the heaven-defying faction might attack Zhao Yufei." Lu Qinxin stepped forward, a complicated expression on her face. Chapter 15:15. Feng, martial ancestor, and I have speculated that the heaven-defying faction might be targeting Zhao Yufei. Lu Qinxin stepped forward, a complicated expression on her face. Zhao Feng was stunned. He hadn't expected the heaven-defying faction to target Zhao Yufei. In truth, the heaven-defying faction's goal was Zhao Feng. They couldn't find any trace of Zhao Feng, so they wanted to use this method to force Zhao Feng to show himself. "I've implicated Yufei." Zhao Feng felt a tinge of guilt, but he was even more angry. He hadn't expected the heaven-defying faction to use such a despicable plan. "Qinxin, is there any way to resolve this danger?" Zhao Feng immediately asked. Up until now, Zhao Yufei might still be kept in the dark, unaware of this hidden fatal danger. And based on what Lu Qinxin said, the heaven-defying faction might be targeting Zhao Yufei, so they probably hadn't succeeded yet and were probably in the process of searching for her. As long as they could find Zhao Yufei before the heaven-defying faction found Zhao Yufei, they would be able to perfectly resolve this matter. We've already deduced Zhao Yufei's approximate location. A ripple of emotion flitted through Lu Qinxin's eyes when she saw how worried Zhao Feng was. It was only now that Zhao Feng learned that Zhao Yufei had already left the spiritual race. But if this was the case, Zhao Yufei would be in even greater danger. He needed to find her as quickly as possible. "Zhao Feng, this trip is extremely dangerous. The ninth god, eye, is of utmost importance. You'd best think twice before acting." Yu Tianwu sighed. It was obvious that this was a plan the heaven-defying faction was using to force Zhao Feng to show himself. They had practically dug a trap and were just waiting for Zhao Feng to jump in. Zhao Feng couldn't help but recall the sage's words. If the heaven-defying faction's plan succeeded, the entire ancient desolate realm of gods would suffer a calamity. "I can't let Zhao Yufei be harmed because of me." Zhao Feng thought for a moment and said with certainty, "If his childhood sweetheart and confidant died because of him, and Zhao Feng knew about it, but didn't come to her rescue, he would never be able to rest in peace. This old man respects your choice and will help you interfere with and restrain the heaven-defying faction." Yu Tianwu smiled faintly, as if he had already expected Zhao Feng's choice. "Thanks a lot." Zhao Feng did not say any more polite words. In order to rescue Zhao Yufei from the hands of the heaven-defying faction, the sage faction's strength was indispensable. All this while, Yu Qianwu had been helping him solve his problems and provided him with help. Zhao Feng had no words to express his gratitude. If he could help the Wise One's faction in the future, he would not reject it. "Feng, I will help you too." Lu Qinxin revealed a trace of warmth. Zhao Feng was startled and suddenly felt that something was wrong. The woman in front of him had already acknowledged Lu Qinxin's identity. In this period of interaction, Zhao Feng had also realized that Lu Qinxin had feelings for him. Just now, Zhao Feng had expressed concern for the other woman's crisis. However, Lu Qinxin's expression had been rather calm, which defied common sense. "Okay." Zhao Feng looked at Lu Qinxin and readily agreed. At the same time, he saw a trace of sorrow in Lu Qinxin's eyes. But at this moment, finding Zhao Yufei was more important. There was no point in thinking about other things. Following this, Zhao Feng returned to make preparations and informed the light race and Xian Wuheng of this matter. It would naturally be better if they had others to help them against the heaven-defying faction, but Zhao Feng would not force them. After all, this matter was too dangerous. Everything depended on their choice. If Zhao Yufei is in trouble, I naturally will not stand idly by. Xian Wuheng smiled casually. After all, he and Zhao Yufei had come from the same place. Cultivating for so long is rather vexing. It's time to go out and temper myself. Xian Wuheng was rather optimistic. Of course, he had truly made great progress recently. He had already reached the peak of the second heaven and was not far from the third heaven. In his last life, Xian Wuheng had always been extremely talented and had a high chance of becoming a god king. After his rebirth, Xian Wuheng's foundation had become even more solid, and he was even closer to his goal. How confident are you? Twilight Valley asked about the situation. With the help of the Sage faction, if we're lucky, we might be able to find Zhao Yufei before the heaven-defying faction does. If we're unlucky, we might just end up clashing with them. If my luck is bad, I might be able to find Zhao Yufei before the heaven-defying faction. Okay, this time, the light race will help you. After some thought, Twilight Valley agreed. He had originally planned to rely on the power of the giant god race and the ninth god, to take revenge on the heaven-defying faction. Right now, he could not allow Zhao Feng to die. Moreover, Zhao Feng, Lu Qinxin, and the others had all helped the light race. He chose to help Zhao Feng for two reasons. One was to return the favor, and the other was that he needed Zhao Feng's strength. He could not allow him to die so easily. The fact that Giant God Hall and the light race were willing to help made Zhao Feng extremely happy. On the same day, Zhao Feng set out with the rest of the group. Giant God Hall had Xian Wuheng and the Grand Elder, while the light race only had Twilight Valley. After all, they were facing an enemy of extraordinary strength. Numbers alone were not enough to deal with them. What was most needed was top-class fighting power. Based on Yu Qianwu and Lu Qinxin speculations, Zhao Yufei was probably in the Tianyan zone. The group immediately used the Sage faction's Heaven's Legacy teleportation array to go to the neighboring Tianyan zone. On the way, the little thieving cat would occasionally toss out a few bronze coins to divine Zhao Yufei's position. But there were too few clues. Searching for a single person in such a large zone was rather difficult. Meow meow. The little thieving cat pointed ahead and gestured. Zhao Yufei is in the center of the Tianhe zone. Zhao Feng immediately said as he hurried along with the group. As the little thieving cat divined, the range gradually shrank. Once they reached the center of the Tianhe zone, the little thieving cat continued to eliminate a few more regions. Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley couldn't help but sigh in amazement. As expected of a Heaven's Legacy cat with the bloodline of the Heaven's Legacy race implanted in it, it was truly extraordinary. Zhao Feng sensed that he was getting closer and closer to Zhao Yufei. I hope that Yufei is fine. Zhao Feng did not hope to find Zhao Yufei before the heaven-defying faction. He only hoped that Zhao Yufei was fine. That way, there would still be a chance. In the center of the Tianhe zone, the burning heaven sea, a streak of faint purple light suddenly shot out from within and turned into a woman dressed in a faint purple robe. Her beautiful face caused the men nearby to stare at her with their mouths agape. But at the same time, everyone was able to see that this woman was actually a God Lord from what they saw just now. To reach the God Lord level at such a young age was truly rare. This woman was naturally Zhao Yufei, who had left the spiritual race to temper herself. 2 months ago, she had used the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng that Zhao Feng had left behind to smoothly break into the God Lord level. At this moment, waves of fire surged through the burning heaven sea. Not good. They're coming. Zhao Yufei's face tensed as she transformed into a violet streak of light and fled. Boom! At this moment, the burning heaven sea exploded apart, and 2 people emerged. One of them was a middle-aged man dressed in red gold armor, shrouded in a faint red flame. Next to him was an elder wearing a red and white robe. That way, the elder's eyes focused. In an instant, the two of them gave chase. That middle-aged man isn't the renowned god Lord Bloodthirst of the Purgatory Sacred Land. An ancient god couldn't help but call out in alarm. The Purgatory Sacred Land was a sacred land of the Tiana Zone. God Lord Bloodthirst was one of the more famous first heaven god lords of the Tiana Zone. It was rumored that this man was extremely bloodthirsty. Because an ancient god was disrespectful to him, he slaughtered that ancient god and his peak 4-star faction. Who was that woman? She actually offended God, Lord Bloodthirst. Now that he's set his sights on her, she's dead for sure. A young ancient god slightly shook his head. Little girl of the spiritual race, the more you struggle, the more I, God Lord Bloodthirst, will like you even more. When the time comes, I'll make you wish you were dead. God Lord Bloodthirst had a wicked expression on his face, and he made no attempt to conceal the evil and ruthless desire in his eyes. But after chasing for a while, God Lord Bloodthirst and the elder realized that the distance between them and Zhao Yufei had not shortened at all. This girl isn't simple, God Lord Bloodthirst muttered. Such a young woman, in terms of speed, unexpectedly did not lose to the two of them who were at the first layer of heaven. No matter what, she's still of the spiritual race bloodline. If you hadn't revealed your killing intent at the start, you might have already gotten the blood spirit god origin stone. The long-robed old man scolded in a scolding tone. In the burning heaven sea, Zhao Yufei had inadvertently discovered the blood spirit god origin stone, and the two of them just happened to be passing by, so she decided to kill it. This treasure could increase the density of one's bloodline and increase the atavism. It could also be used to condense divine power and increase one's strength. To a first heaven god lord, the blood spirit god origin stone was extremely alluring. Even a second heaven god lord would need it. The elder then looked forward and called out, God Lord of the spiritual race, if you are willing to take out the blood spirit god origin stone and split it with us, we will not pursue this matter any further. Zhao Yufei naturally did not believe them. She completely ignored her pursuers and focused on fleeing. With the legacy of the god martial race, her comprehension of any combat skill had reached a higher level, and this was also true for secret speed arts. But suddenly, Zhao Yufei sensed several powerful auras in front of her that caused her to feel apprehensive. Focusing her eyes, she saw several figures in the distance. One of them was a man with dreamy silver hair and wearing a silver robe. Wasn't this Zhao Feng? Moreover, the little thieving cat on Zhao Feng's shoulder and Xian Wuheng next to him made her even more certain of this. Brother Feng, Zhao Yufei rejoiced, her eyes red as she prepared to go over. But suddenly, she grimaced. No, I can't let the people of the Purgatory Sacred Land discover Brother Feng. The people of the Purgatory Sacred Land were roaming the burning heaven sea for two reasons. One was to investigate the destruction of Vermilion Bird Pavilion and Swift Wind Gate, and the other was to search for clues leading to the Ninth God Eye. Zhao Yufei had come to the burning heaven sea because she had heard that the Ninth God Eye had appeared here. Now that she was here, she had a clearer understanding of certain things. She knew that many of the great powers of the ancient, desolate realm of gods were eyeing the Ninth God Eye. Zhao Yufei clenched her teeth and immediately turned around. In the distance, Zhao Feng was also overjoyed to see Zhao Yufei, because they had found Zhao Yufei before the heaven-defying faction. But Zhao Yufei had suddenly turned around, surprising Zhao Feng. But soon after, Zhao Feng understood the reason. His extremely wide field of vision allowed him to see two figures nearly 1 million li away. Chapter 15:16. The Tianyan Zone, near the burning heaven sea. Divine emissary Baiming Hui was leading two palace kings, God Lord Tyrant Dragon and God Lord Heavenly Solitude, in searching for Zhao Yufei. In Baiming Hui's hand was a square-shaped instrument with a silver crystal ball in its center. This was the Heaven's Legacy Race's search instrument. They had found traces of Zhao Yufei's energy in the spiritual race and succeeded in creating this instrument. Just where is Zhao Yufei hiding? God Lord Tyrant Dragon was rather anxious. As he was grumbling, the search instrument in Biming Hui's hand flashed with a dazzling light. Zhao Yufei, over there. Biming Hui was elated. The group began to head in the direction indicated by the search instrument. On the other side, Godlord Bloodthirst and the Robe Man were in the middle of pursuing Zhao Yufei. Suddenly, the target they were chasing changed directions. This change caused them to get a little closer to Zhao Yufei. What's wrong with this girl? The long-robed elder was puzzled. Who cares? Let's capture her first. Godlord Bloodthirst's eyes flashed as he sped up. This was the Tiana Zone, the territory of the Purgatory Sacred Land. Was there need to worry so much? Swoosh, swoosh. The two god lords immediately changed directions and began to pursue. At this distance, they could already attack and interfere with Zhao Yufei. Bang! Godlord Bloodthirst extended his right hand and thrust out a finger, unleashing a blood-red flame that shot forward. Far in the distance, Zhao Feng knew that Zhao Yufei was trying to protect him by not reuniting with him and drawing away her pursuers. He couldn't help but feel a little warmth in his heart, but he was even more angry. Brother Xian, I'll have to trouble you. Zhao Feng immediately said. The enemy was a god lord, so he could not recklessly expose his identity. Besides, Xian Wuheng alone was enough. Swish! Xian Wuheng's body flickered away. A moment later, he appeared in front of God Lord Bloodthirst and the Elder. Bang! God Lord Bloodthirst's attack struck Xian Wuheng's body, but it was easily blocked, leaving behind only a splash of blood. God Lord Bloodthirst and the long-robed Elder both trembled in fear at this sight. To be able to so easily block an attack from God Lord Bloodthirst with his divine body meant that he was either a second Heaven God Lord or a third Heaven God Lord. In short, the God Master who had suddenly appeared was not someone they could afford to offend. Senior, please forgive me. This one is the Purgatory Sacred Land's God, Lord Bloodthirst. I had a dispute with that woman in front of me, so I decided to pursue her. God Lord Bloodthirst immediately lowered his head and explained. In his opinion, the person before him suddenly intervening must have something to do with the little girl from the spirit tribe. Please forgive me if I have offended you. The long-robed elder immediately apologized. Far away, Zhao Feng was observing everything. At the same time, he gathered his thoughts and prepared to send a voice transmission to Zhao Yufei. However, at this moment, three figures appeared in Zhao Feng's vision, causing his expression to change. Found it! God Lord Heavenly Solitude was elated. He hadn't expected that they would be the first to find the target of their mission. The appearance of Biming Hui's group of three was naturally noticed by Zhao Yufei and the others. So strong, the powerful auras exuded by these three made Zhao Yufei's heart tremble. At the same time, she found it rather strange that they had encountered so many powerful god lords in such a short time. Okay. Biming Hui's eyes focused as he unleashed a ball of primal chaos energy. In a flash, Zhao Yufei knew that the situation was bad. But in the face of Biming Hui's attack, she was powerless to resist. At this moment, another ball of primal chaos energy howled over. Boom! Bang! Crash! The two primal chaos energies collided, unleashing a storm of divine power that swept through the surroundings. At the same time, Zhao Feng appeared at Zhao Yufei's side to block this storm for her. This energy, Zhao Feng. Biming Hui's expression darkened, and then his eyes widened in shock. Brother Feng. Zhao Yufei immediately grabbed Zhao Feng's arm. It's fine. I'm here. Zhao Feng lowered his head and gently said. But in his heart, Zhao Feng truly felt that this was a great pity. He had originally believed that if he could find Zhao Yufei before the heaven-defying faction, this matter would be perfectly resolved. But to his surprise, the members of the heaven-defying faction had appeared at this crucial moment, and they were all old acquaintances. Nearby, Xian Wuheng also felt that this was a great pity. Both they and the heaven-defying faction were using every second they had to find Zhao Yufei. Although they had found her ahead of time, the heaven-defying faction was right behind them. Zhao Feng, this time, you won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. Bai Ming Hui's expression darkened as he growled. He was already too lazy to care about Zhao Yufei. After all, they had captured Zhao Yufei to force out the ninth god eye. Go in. Without another word, Zhao Feng took Zhao Yufei into his dream divine kingdom. On the other side, Xi and Wuheng abandoned God Lord Bloodthirst's group and immediately retreated. Swoosh swoosh. The two swiftly left, meeting up with Twilight Valley, and then fleeing together. Few third heavens could compare to Zhao Feng and Twilight Valley in terms of speed, and even if they brought Xi and Wuheng with them, their speed wouldn't be much affected. Bai Ming Hui's group of three immediately pursued, but they realized that they couldn't catch up to Zhao Feng's group. This kid, has he really grown to this level? Bai Ming Hui was flabbergasted as he watched the figures in front of him gradually vanish. When he heard Yu Luping say that Zhao Feng had killed a third heaven god lord in the Qixing zone, he found it hard to believe. But after his clash with Zhao Feng and the speed Zhao Feng displayed, he now truly believed it. Back then, Zhao Feng hadn't been able to put up much of a fight against him. He hadn't expected for Zhao Feng to grow to this level in just a few short years. Bai Ming Hui could only sigh. As expected of the owner of the ninth god eye. We can't catch up. What do we do? Lord Divine Emissary. God Lord Heavenly Solitude was worried. There's no need to worry. They can't get away. Bai Ming Hui was not too worried. He was not the only divine emissary who had come to search for Zhao Yufei. The moment he discovered Zhao Yufei's whereabouts, he had sent a message to everyone. Just as expected, not long after Zhao Feng's group began to flee, a powerful energy appeared in front of them. Haha, I truly didn't think that the ninth god would appear of its own accord and walk right into a trap. A slender man dressed in white appeared in front of them. Divine Emissary. Zhao Feng's eyes darkened. Back in the Heaven's Legacy Race Divine Kingdom, Zhao Feng had seen all the divine emissaries and had a clear memory of their appearances. The white-clothed man in front of them was one of the divine emissaries. Light Race. Twilight Valley sensed a familiar bloodline energy from this white-clothed man. A moment later, a pitch-black second heaven woman appeared like a streak of light. From her aura, she was probably one of the heaven-defying faction's palace kings. Since that's the case, let's fight. Zhao Feng immediately called out. Previously, when facing the rather slow Bai Ming Hui, they had a high chance of escaping. But now, this white-clothed divine emissary had the light race bloodline and would probably be very difficult to throw off. Since that was the case, they might as well fight and finish off these people as quickly as possible. Thuish. Twilight Valley charged at the white-clothed divine emissary, activating his light race bloodline. He had always hated the heaven-defying faction, and he hated the members of the heaven-defying faction with the light race bloodline even more. Swish, swish, swish. With a wave of his hand, Zhao Feng released his three battle-type clones, Zhao Kong, Zhao Wang, and Zhao Wan. In the battle for the light race divine kingdom, Zhao Feng had slain 2/3 heaven god lords and several second heavens, so he had plenty of resources. Only an extremely small portion of these resources were useful to Zhao Feng. The rest was given to his clones, the Black Destruction Dragon, the Little Thieving Cat, and the others. For this reason, these people had all received a massive boost in strength. Xi and Wuheng and Zhao Feng's clones attacked God Lord Tyrant Dragon, God Lord Heavenly Solitude, and the black-clothed woman. Zhao Feng, on the other hand, went to meet Bai Ming Hui. Primal Chaos Tribulation Lightning Sword. Zhao Feng immediately circulated his primal chaos energy and charged forward. Bai Ming Hui coldly snorted as he unleashed a ball of primal chaos energy at Zhao Feng. Bai Ming Hui felt extremely uncomfortable as he watched this once-weak person become as strong as him and possess the same primal chaos energy. Boom! Bang! In the time it takes for a spark to fly off a flint, The two of them exchanged more than a dozen blows. A chaotic energy storm swept out in all directions. Mountains and rivers toppled over and the earth shattered. After exchanging a few blows, the two separated and paused for a few moments. So powerful. His primal chaos energy is on par with mine, but his primal chaos energy also contains tribulation, lightning energy. Bai Minghui hatefully glared at Zhao Feng. He originally believed that he could only defeat Zhao Feng, but he had never imagined that he would be the one at a disadvantage against Zhao Feng. Primal Chaos Lock. Bai Minghui thrust out a palm, causing boundless primal chaos energy to surge toward Zhao Feng. Bai Minghui had used this move to capture Zhao Feng. Primal Chaos Lightning Vortex. Zhao Feng released primal chaos energy and tribulation lightning energy, instantly creating a pitch-black lightning vortex. Boom! Bang! Hiss! The two powerful primal chaos energies fiercely clashed. Bai Minghui's primal chaos energy formed a dark ring of light that attempted to trap Zhao Feng. However, inside the primal chaos lightning vortex, Zhao Feng was like a porcupine. Not only was he defending, but he was also attacking. The two primal chaos energies continued to clash. The powerful divine power caused the nearby space to twist. In the end, Bai Minghui's primal chaos energy was used up, but he still couldn't break through Zhao Feng's defense. How can this be? Bai Minghui was unwilling to give up. Primal Chaos Lock. At the same time, Zhao Feng's primal chaos lightning vortex transformed into countless streams of primal chaos energy that howled out and surrounded Bai Minghui. I'll learn this move as well. Zhao Feng's eyes were cold as he brought his hands together. Boundless streams of primal chaos energy swirled, forming an encirclement that gradually shrank. Chaos Skywave. Bai Minghui circulated his primal chaos energy and fired out a dark, twisted wave of light. Boom! Bang! A hole appeared in the primal chaos lock's encirclement, but it was quickly replenished. Lock! Zhao Feng growled. The chaotic streams of primal chaos energy around Bai Minghui abruptly shrank, wrapping him within. How is this possible? Bai Minghui's expression was somewhat dazed. He had used this move against Zhao Feng, and now Zhao Feng had used a similar move to trap him inside. I will not lose to you. Bai Minghui suddenly roared, his body erupting with the power of a primal chaos bloodline. Boom! His body gradually darkened under this bloodline aura. The lower half of his body disappeared, turning into a dark, twisted mist of light. After activating his bloodline, Bai Minghui released an even more powerful primal chaos energy and broke free of Zhao Feng's primal chaos lock. The heaven-mending race bloodline. The quality and power of this primal chaos energy have increased greatly. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh in admiration. However, Bai Minghui's heaven-mending race bloodline was also within his calculations. In the exchange, just now, Zhao Feng hadn't used his full strength, and he had many techniques that he hadn't used yet. Chapter 15-17. Chaos Heaven Wave. After activating the heaven-mending race bloodline, Bai Minghui's fighting power swelled, and a wave of his hand unleashed a dark and twisted wave of energy. Zhao Feng took the initiative to meet it, his primal chaos tribulation lightning sword swelling in power and doubling in size. Boom! Bang! Zhao Feng's sword slashed down, and after a few moments of stalemate, the chaotic wave of energy was cut apart. This time, Zhao Feng used his lightning law to amplify the power of the tribulation lightning energy, making the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword even more destructive. Lightning law? Bai Minghui was taken aback. He hadn't expected that Zhao Feng would also comprehend a lightning law besides a space-time law. At this moment, Vish, a silver-gray light suddenly flashed behind Bai Minghui as it launched a sneak attack. Seeking death. Bai Minghui's eyes chilled. The heaven-mending race was extremely sensitive to all types of energy. Moreover, Bai Minghui was a third heaven god lord, so he immediately sensed the little thieving cat's sneak attack. BZZ, primal chaos energy, surged behind Biming Hui, forming a thick and gloomy wall. The little thieving cat would find it very difficult to break through the defenses of a third heaven god lord. But at this moment, the little thieving cat's body turned pitch black and then split into 4 streams of light that circled around the primal chaos wall. These 4 streams of light had extremely hidden auras, and they were all identical, making it difficult for Biming Hui to distinguish them. A secret bloodline art of the dark shadow race. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. In the war between the spiritual race and blazing gold race, Zhao Feng had fought with the dark shadow race's ancient god Shadow Death. Later on, when they fought on Shadowstream Peak, he had mostly used the dark shadow race's combat skills. Plush. The 4 streams of light transformed into 4 black little thieving cats, each of which formed a pitch-black blade that slashed at Biming Hui's body. In close combat, the dark shadow race's attack was extremely terrifying, and it instantly descended. Hiss! Biming Hui screamed as 4 wounds appeared on his body that were extremely difficult to heal. Zhao Feng's left eye focused as he stared at Biming Hui's wound. He was a bit surprised. The bloodline power of the destruction dragon race. This was the first time he had seen the little thieving cat use the bloodline power of one of the top 10 ancient races. Perhaps it was because of the black destruction dragon's influence. After all, the two often spent time together. Although this power was similar to that of the annihilation dragons, it was not complete, but it was already very rare. This Heaven's Legacy cat actually, Biming Hui was extremely shocked. Ordinary Heaven's Legacy cats only had the bloodline of the Heaven's Legacy race, but they weren't very strong. As for the Heaven's Legacy cats used for the ancient race duplication plan, they either failed and died, or they obtained the ancient race bloodline. However, the cat before him was using the power of another primordial bloodline. What was going on? Xiao! Zhao Feng seized the opportunity and rushed forward, waving the chaotic thunder tribulation sword to launch a fierce attack. Boom! Bang! The clash of chaotic energies caused the entire space to tremble slightly. The little thieving cat's sneak attack had affected Biming Hui, and with the perceptive abilities of Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng was able to nullify Biming Hui's attacks and see through his defensive techniques, injuring him once more. Die! Biming Hui roared, and a dark fragment suddenly appeared in his hand. As he gripped this fragment, the power and quality of Biming Hui's primordial chaos energy instantly rose to a whole new level, exuding an immense pressure. Ancestral artifact fragment. Zhao Feng was alarmed. What Biming Hui had taken out was probably no ordinary ancestral artifact fragment, but a fragment of the heaven-mending race's ancestral artifact. Chaos Heaven-Shattering Slash. Biming Hui slashed the ancestral artifact fragment, unleashing a shockwave of primordial chaos energy. This massive primordial chaos energy wave swept up all the energy in the world and hurtled toward Zhao Feng. After taking out the ancestral artifact fragment, Biming Hui's primordial chaos energy attack was probably slightly stronger than Zhao Feng's. Since that's the case, I'll let you experience the power of the Dream God Eye. Zhao Feng was unhurried. The primordial chaos energy and tribulation, lightning energy in his left eye began to ripple and twist together. Primordial chaos lightning sword. Suddenly, a sort of dark lightning shot out of Zhao Feng's left eye. Booish! It was like a dark and heavy sword of lightning had shot forward, piercing through all. He combined primordial chaos energy and tribulation lightning energy into an eye bloodline technique. Biming Hui was stunned. The ancestral artifact fragment in his hand was used to amplify primordial chaos energy. Meanwhile, Zhao Feng was using the ninth god eye to amplify the power of his primordial chaos energy. Bang! The dark lightning struck the primordial chaos energy wave, causing the world to fall into chaos and make it impossible to see what was going on. But Zhao Feng's left eye could see through all and see what was going on at the very center. The dark lightning sword had pierced a hole in the primordial chaos energy wave. The primordial chaos lightning sword immediately pierced through. The attack of the primordial chaos lightning sword is even more concentrated. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. In terms of destructive power, the primordial chaos lightning sword might not be able to compare to Biming Hui's attack, but the more concentrated the primordial chaos lightning sword's power was, the greater its penetrative and explosive power. No! Biming Hui cried out in alarm. His powerful attack with the ancestral artifact fragment had still been countered by Zhao Feng. Dooish! In a flash of lightning, a hole appeared in Biming Hui's chest, blood spurting out. The eye bloodline technique version of the primordial chaos lightning sword also dealt enormous damage to the soul, causing Biming Hui's soul to momentarily become numb and confused. At the same time, Zhao Feng charged at Biming Hui, several sword slashes descending. Boom! Bang! Crash! Biming Hui raised his palm, sending out a massive wave of primordial chaos energy to block Zhao Feng's attacks. Dreamification. Zhao Feng used his dream origin eye bloodline technique. Origin energy surged in his left eye, creating layers of dreamy mist that seeped into the world. In a flash, with Zhao Feng at the center, everything in the world was covered in a layer of dreamy light. Die! Zhao Feng once more attacked Biming Hui. This time, the weakening of dreamification caused Biming Hui's condition to drop and his defenses to shatter. Crack! A bolt of primordial chaos tribulation lightning energy slammed into Biming Hui's chest. He flew backward, vomiting a mouthful of blood. The ninth god, Eye's ability. Biming Hui sensed the dazzling world around him, but his own condition was extremely low. He felt an inexplicable unease. Dooish! Biming Hui suddenly began to retreat. He had seen Zhao Feng's dreamification several times, so he had a certain understanding of it. He was heavily injured. If he continued to fight with Zhao Feng while under the influence of dreamification, it would be extremely dangerous. Thus, Biming Hui chose to temporarily retreat and stall for time. He was confident that Zhao Feng would not be able to maintain dreamification forever. But to Biming Hui's surprise, when he turned to retreat, Zhao Feng did not pursue him. Dooish! Zhao Feng suddenly turned and charged at the three palace kings, God Lord Tyrant Dragon, God Lord Heavenly Solitude, and the black-skinned woman. Their goal was to escape, not to kill each other. Since Biming Hui had chosen to retreat, Zhao Feng naturally would not pursue him. Moreover, Biming Hui was a third heaven, and his heaven-mending race bloodline was also skilled in defense. Killing him would be even more difficult than killing Yu Luping. Boom! Bang! Crash! Zhao Feng's three clones worked with Xi and Wuheng in an intense battle against the three palace kings. Although the battle wasn't a stalemate, Zhao Feng was already feeling pretty good. After all, his three clones were all below second heaven. I'll kill you first. Zhao Feng's eyes locked on a god, Lord Heavenly Solitude. Of the three, God Lord Heavenly Solitude was the one Zhao Feng was most familiar with, and the weakest was also God Lord Heavenly Solitude. Dooish! Zhao Feng transformed into a streak of silver light that rapidly approached God Lord Heavenly Solitude. What? God Lord Heavenly Solitude was flabbergasted. Zhao Feng had actually defeated divine emissary Biming Hui. The danger of death engulfed God Lord Heavenly Solitude's mind, but he was not in the mood to be shocked. Death Vortex! God Lord Heavenly Solitude activated his Eye of Death, unleashing a massive black vortex that was suffused with a death law that pushed everything toward death. But in the face of absolute power, even death had to retreat. Boom! Bang! A primal chaos tribulation, lightning, blasted apart the death vortex and continued onward. God Lord Heavenly Solitude's body trembled in fear as he fled. But this slash was too fast for God Lord Heavenly Solitude to dodge. Crack! The primal chaos tribulation, lightning, descended, cutting off God Lord Heavenly Solitude's right arm. The intense pain caused him to howl in pain. This attack will take your dog life. Before God, Lord, Heavenly Solitude could recover, Zhao Feng's chilling voice resounded through the air. At the same time, an even more powerful primal chaos tribulation lightning sword howled forward. Bang! God Lord Heavenly Solitude's body exploded, obliterated by the boundless primal chaos and tribulation lightning energy. The entire process took less than 2 seconds. Zhao Feng stopped. Bai Minghui angrily roared as he charged forward. Primal Chaos Lightning Sword. Zhao Feng activated his left eye, firing off a sword of dark lightning. Bai Minghui shivered and immediately dodged. Kaplush! Alas, the Primal Chaos Lightning Sword was too fast, and it pierced through his right shoulder. The Primal Chaos Lightning Sword was not only fast, it was also incredibly powerful. Bai Minghui's injuries worsened, and he began to feel apprehensive. It's your turn to die. Zhao Feng's gaze fell on the nearby god, Lord Tyrant Dragon. No, save me, Lord Divine Emissary. He had just watched as God Lord Heavenly Solitude was killed by Zhao Feng, and now that he was being targeted by Zhao Feng, God Lord Tyrant Dragon's heart trembled in fear, and he immediately sought help from Bai Minghui. Bai Minghui's face contorted in pain. Zhao Feng, you dare! Bai Minghui angrily rebuked as he activated the ancestral artifact fragment to attack Zhao Feng. He didn't dare to get close to Zhao Feng at this time, but long-range attacks were still possible to interfere with Zhao Feng. Primal Chaos Lightning Vortex. Zhao Feng circulated his primal chaos energy and tribulation lightning energy, creating a pitch-black primal chaos lightning vortex. Boom! Bang! Crash! Bai Minghui's powerful attack rumbled forward, but Zhao Feng's defensive skill was enough to block it. In the distance, God Lord Tyrant Dragon breathed a small sigh of relief. But at this moment, a bolt of lightning suddenly flashed out of the lightning vortex. That's... God Lord Tyrant Dragon stared at this bolt of lightning and realized that there was a dark and twisted sword of lightning within it. Wasn't this the Primal Chaos Lightning Sword that had pierced through Bai Minghui's shoulder? Plush! By the time God Lord Tyrant Dragon realized this, the Primal Chaos Lightning Sword had pierced through his head. Bang! God Lord Tyrant Dragon's body exploded, black flames madly pouring out. One could sense that God Lord Tyrant Dragon was on the verge of death. If not for the fact that he had the 9th-ranked Destruction Dragon body of the 10,000 ancient races, God Lord Tyrant Dragon would have been instantly killed by Zhao Feng. Duish! Xi and Wuheng used this chance to charge out, his massive 5 elements palm crushing down and obliterating the black flames. At this point, 2 of the 3 palace kings had been killed, and the remaining dark-skinned woman was panic-stricken and at a loss for what to do. Chapter 15:18. On the other side, the white-robed man fighting with Twilight Valley sensed what was happening on the other battlefields and paled. Amongst the divine emissaries, Bai Minghui could be considered one of the stronger existences, but he was now heavily injured. Of the 3 palace kings, 2 had already fallen, and the dark-skinned woman was also in grave danger. Bai Minghui, what's going on? The white-robed man asked in alarm. Bai Minghui immediately fell silent, unsure of what to say. Logically speaking, as long as they could stop Zhao Feng and wait for the Protector and the others to arrive, everything would be settled. But when he saw the once weak Zhao Feng grow to this level and possess the same primal chaos energy as him, Bai Minghui had forgotten his original goal and urgently wanted to defeat Zhao Feng to prove himself. In the end, he had suffered a crushing defeat. One could say that the current situation had been single-handedly caused by him. But to Bai Minghui, it was all because of Zhao Feng. Primal Chaos Tomb. Bai Minghui roared as he ignited his bloodline and divine power. Boom! His palms fiercely thrust forward, unleashing one massive wave of primal chaos energy after another. Vast amounts of primal chaos energy gathered below Zhao Feng, forming a vortex that sucked in all the energy in the world. Above the vortex, Zhao Feng found it difficult to extricate himself from the powerful suction. The vortex formed from primal chaos energy absorbed all the energy and constantly expanded, charging upward as if trying to bury Zhao Feng within. Buzz! Zhao Feng immediately activated the 3 ancestral artifact fragments, unleashing a wave of space-time energy that descended. This powerful space-time energy battered against the primal chaos energy, creating a massive obstruction and other effects. The power of the chaotic vortex gradually weakened, and the speed of its rotation also slowed down. At the same time, Zhao Feng gripped the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword and unleashed several powerful bolts of sword energy. Boom! Bang! In a flash, the primal chaos vortex collapsed. Upon seeing this, Bai Minghui retreated once more. At this moment, he was seriously injured. Even his strongest bloodline secret art couldn't do anything to Zhao Feng. Once Zhao Feng got the chance, he might even lose his life. On the other side, out of the 3 palace kings, only the dark-skinned woman was left. With Xian Wuheng and Zhao Feng's doppelganger working together, she didn't even have a chance to escape. In less than a moment, the dark-skinned woman was killed. At this point, the 3 palace kings had all fallen. Kill! Zhao Feng turned to the white-robed divine emissary battling Twilight Valley. As long as they dealt with this divine emissary with the light race bloodline, they would be able to leave safely. No! How could this be? The white-clothed man battling with Twilight Valley sensed the rapidly approaching auras and grimaced. Time prison. Twilight Valley immediately exerted his strength. He wanted nothing more than to cut a Heaven's Legacy race member who had transplanted the light race bloodline into 1,000 pieces. Buzz! Streaks of white light suddenly appeared around the white-robed man's body and gradually extended, forming a white prison. If a normal person were trapped in this prison, they would definitely move as slowly as a turtle. However, the white-robed man was also a member of the light race and possessed a law of light and time energy, making him extremely resistant to this art. Boom! Bang! Crash! He thrust out his palms again and again, unleashing powerful time energy that ultimately shattered the time prison. But at this moment, Zhao Feng, Xian Wuheng, and the others arrived. 5 elements, law-shattering palm. Xian Wuheng extended his palm, condensing the power of the 5 elements, and slapped out a huge palm of 5-color vortex light, crushing down from the sky. Zhao Feng waved his arm, throwing out the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. His doppelgangers also activated their eye bloodlines and attacked the white-robed man. Boom! Bang! Crash! The moment he broke out of the time prison, the white-robed man was engulfed by a barrage of attacks. But this was not enough to do much to the white-robed man. After all, he was a member of the light race and possessed a time body, which made him extremely resistant to all kinds of energy. Dooish! The white-robed man charged out of the explosion. Bai Minghui, what are you doing? Have you thought about the consequences of failing this mission? The white-robed man bellowed. In his view, this development was all Bai Minghui's fault. Consequences? Bai Minghui's body trembled. The Heaven Lord's plan had already reached its final phase. He was extremely concerned about this matter and urgently wished to obtain the 9th God Eye. If this mission failed because of him, the consequences would be worse than death. Bai Minghui took in a deep breath and turned to Zhao Feng's group. He had to stop them until the protector arrived. Brother Xian, please stop Bai Minghui for now. Zhao Feng called out. Bai Minghui was already heavily injured, and his fighting power was greatly diminished. Xian Wuheng and Zhao Feng's 3 doppelgangers working together should have no problem stopping him. Senior Twilight Valley, attack. Zhao Feng immediately called out. The light race white-robed man was rather fast. If he was not heavily injured or killed, he would find it very difficult to escape. Time Blade. Twilight Valley's 2 palms slashed down again and again, unleashing an unending stream of white light like an endless white river. Dooish! Zhao Feng gripped his primal chaos tribulation lightning swords and charged forward to engage in close combat. Die! The white-robed man bellowed, his arms swinging, unleashing two massive time blades. Wherever the blade passed, everything became quiet. Even a void seemed to have solidified. Upon seeing this, Zhao Feng also formed two primal chaos tribulation lightning swords and threw them forward. Boom! Bang! Crash! The time blades collided with the primal chaos tribulation lightning swords. Time energy and primal chaos energy collided, causing the space around the point of the explosion to twist and distort. What powerful primal chaos energy! No wonder Bai Minghui lost. The white-robed man was alarmed. He had used all his strength just now, but in this clash, he was on the losing end. A terrifying storm of primal chaos energy swept toward him. Whoosh! The white-robed man swung his palms again and again, unleashing time energy to scatter the storm. But at this moment, an abnormally eye-catching bolt of lightning appeared in the center of the storm. Whoosh! In a flash of lightning, a primal chaos lightning sword shot toward the white-robed man. So fast, the white-robed man grimaced. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique was so fast that by the time the white-robed man sensed something strange, the eye bloodline technique was already upon him. The white-robed man used time energy to affect Zhao Feng's attack, while doing his utmost to flee. In the distance, Zhao Feng calmly watched. His primal chaos lightning sword had always hit its mark, but it was different against the light race, who possessed time energy. The light race's time energy could slow down the attacks of their enemies and also increase their own speed. They were not called the fastest race of the 10,000 ancient races for nothing. But Zhao Feng's reputation as the ninth god was not undeserved either. Speed up hit. Zhao Feng circulated his origin energy, his thought power forming an intense thought. His left eye focused on the primal chaos lightning sword. At this moment, he only hoped that the primal chaos lightning sword would hit the white-robed man. The ability of realization was instantly activated. As his god, evolved, and his cultivation broke through, Zhao Feng's thought power continued to strengthen, and so did his realization ability. Whoosh! The attack, which was originally unlikely to hit the white-robed man, suddenly changed its trajectory and even increased its speed. What? The white-robed man grimaced in disbelief. Normally, the faster an attack was, the more important it was to kill in a single blow, and it was almost impossible to change its trajectory. But now he encountered such a bizarre sight. The primal chaos tribulation lightning sword had not only changed its trajectory, but it had also made an extremely large turn, increasing its speed in a manner that defied common sense. Plush! The primal chaos lightning sword pierced through the white-robed man's chest. Even his time body found the assault of primal chaos tribulation lightning extremely difficult to bear. At the same time, Twilight Valley's time blade descended, slicing at the white-robed man's ethereal body. Primal chaos lock. Zhao Feng pushed out his palms, unleashing vast amounts of primal chaos energy. This primal chaos energy transformed into countless streams of primal chaos energy that surrounded the white-robed man. No! The white-robed man recovered from Zhao Feng and Twilight Valley's attacks, but he realized that he was in a predicament. Lock! Zhao Feng brought his hands together, and the streams of primal chaos energy shrank into a gloomy ball of light that engulfed the white-robed man. Buzz! Bzzz! The white-robed man's eyes half closed, his body exploding with dazzling light as powerful time energy rippled through him. Zhao Feng, he's trying to escape. Twilight Valley immediately warned. The light race's time bodies were rather special. After activating their bloodline's secret arts, they could pierce through matter, so the primal chaos lock naturally could not hold them. Of course, this was mainly because the devouring attribute of primal chaos energy was not very effective against time energy. Otherwise, the white-robed man's chances of escaping would have been much lower. He can't do it. Zhao Feng focused his eyes and began to circulate his origin energy. In his mind, Zhao Feng created a dream realm. Intrusive dream. Zhao Feng's left eye focused on the white-robed man's body, exerting a powerful suction force. The white-robed man, who was in the middle of using a secret art, immediately lost his focus and was sucked in by Zhao Feng's left eye. At the same time, the primal chaos lock began to devour the white-robed man's energy. On the other side, Twilight Valley used this chance to attack. The time attack he unleashed could pierce through the primal chaos lock and land on the white-robed man's body. Although it would weaken, it was better than nothing. The white-robed man's body trembled. On one hand, his mind was being sucked in by Zhao Feng's intrusive dream. On the other hand, the primal chaos lock was slowly devouring the energy in his body. At the same time, he was facing Twilight Valley's attacks. The white-robed man gradually weakened under this three-pronged attack. At a certain moment, his mind relaxed, and he was sucked into Zhao Feng's dream dimension. As long as he was in the dream dimension, Zhao Feng could even kill a god king. Boom! Bang! The white-robed man trapped in the primal chaos lock suddenly shattered, and even his soul perished. No, divine emissary Chong. Bai Minghui called out in alarm. He had never imagined that divine emissary Chong, who had the light race bloodline, would be killed by Zhao Feng. Let's go, Zhao Feng grunted. Without the entanglement of the light race, the heavily injured Bai Minghui was powerless to stop them. Uish. Xi and Wuheng and Zhao Feng's clones immediately retreated, preparing to leave. But at this moment, the world froze. A great pressure descended upon them. A moment later, the entire space was dyed red and seething with flames. The earth was burning, the void was burning, everything in sight seemed to be burning, and everyone else seemed to be on the verge of being set aflame. This feeling, God King. Zhao Feng's face froze. They had finally dealt with this problem and were just about to leave when a God King had arrived. Were they reinforcements from the heaven-defying faction? It's not a protector. In the distance, Bai Minghui was also being roasted by this energy. Where are you in such a rush to go? A soft chuckle rang out. A moment later, an elder appeared in front of them. He was shrouded in boundless flames, a faint smile on his face as he looked down on them. Chapter 1519. Purgatory's Sacred Land, God King Charflame. Bai Minghui muttered in shock as he stared at the elder in the flames. It seems like it was those two god lords who reported. Xi and Wuheng's expression darkened. If he had known this would happen, he would have killed God Lord Bloodthirst and the other god lord, a god king of the Purgatory, Sacred Land. Zhao Feng breathed a sigh of relief. In his eyes, the god kings of the heaven-defying faction were much stronger than the god kings of ordinary sacred lands. As long as the newcomer was not a god king of the heaven-defying faction, there was still a chance. Perhaps because of the lack of time, only God King Charflame had come from the Purgatory Sacred Land, while they had the advantage in numbers. You recognize this old man? God King Charflame looked at Bai Minghui. He had no impression of this third heaven god lord with the heaven-mending race bloodline, but he didn't care. After all, he was a god king of the Purgatory Sacred Land and was rather famous in the ancient desolate realm of gods. Bai Minghui, it seems like your heaven's legacy race is going to fail again. Zhao Feng suddenly said at this crucial moment. Heaven's legacy race? God King Charflame was stunned, his sinister eyes staring at Bai Minghui. Several years ago, the upper echelon members of two five-star factions had fallen in the burning heaven sea. After a period of investigation, the Sacred Land had deduced that this was all related to the heaven's legacy race. Bai Minghui glared at Zhao Feng. He originally had a chance of escaping the God King's sight, but now that his identity was known, the situation was different. At this moment, Bai Minghui could clearly sense this God King's killing intent. Of course, Bai Minghui was also keenly aware of Zhao Feng's goal. Zhao Feng wanted Bai Minghui to temporarily work together with them to fight against the God King. It seems like you're planning to resist. God King Charflame could naturally tell that Zhao Feng's group still intended to resist. Zhao Feng's actions just now had been to pull Bai Minghui over to his side. Whoosh! Bai Minghui went to Zhao Feng's side. Escaping alone was probably impossible. He could only work with Zhao Feng's group to fight against the God King expert. The juniors these days are truly ignorant. God King Charflame mockingly sighed. As soon as he finished speaking, the temperature of the surroundings rose rapidly as a boundless, violent flame pressed down on Zhao Feng and the others. Now, almost all the other elemental powers in this area had been pushed out. Under God King Charflame's perfected fire law, his other intents were also greatly suppressed. Only Zhao Feng's and Baiming Hui's chaos power was suppressed slightly better. Zhao Feng and Baiming Hui suddenly attacked, unleashing an enormous amount of chaos power. Boom! Boundless flames crashed into the defensive circle of chaotic force, creating a wave of fire that reached the sky. Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley suddenly attacked God King Charflame. Xiao! Twilight Valley gathered up time, energy, and unleashed a solid-time energy blade that pierced through everything. Xian Wuheng activated his giant god race bloodline and unleashed several fiery palms with his immense physical strength. You dare to counterattack? God King Charflame was surprised. He didn't know if these people were stupid or ignorant for them to dare to attack him. Boom! With a wave of his hand, God King Charflame gathered the boundless fire energy of the world into a ball of solar fire that shot forward. What a powerful attack! Xian Wuheng was taken aback. If he was struck by God King Charflame's attack head-on, he would almost certainly die. Bang! The massive solar fireball only needed to create a ripple to devour Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley's attacks, but it only dimmed a little. As the solar fireball bore down on them, Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley retreated, their faces pale. Chaos Heaven Wave. Primal Chaos Tribulation Lightning Slash. Zhao Feng and Twilight Valley suddenly attacked, unleashing powerful primal chaos attacks at the scorching solar fireball. Boom! Bang! Crash! The two attacks fiercely clashed, their terrifying energies ultimately stopping the solar fireball. Not bad. This old man truly did underestimate you. God King Charflame faintly smiled. Zhao Feng's expression darkened. There were 2/3 heavens present, and Zhao Feng's strength was equivalent to that of a third heaven godlord. Although Xian Wuheng was a peak second heaven, his strength was close to that of a third heaven. In these circumstances, he was barely able to contend against a god king. He had been thinking of pushing back the god king and then escaping. At this moment, Zhao Feng realized that he had been underestimating the God King's strength. Zhao Feng, you're too naive. Even if we work together, we'll only be able to contend against the God King. Baiming Hui jeered. Humph, the God King is also only at the third heaven. Zhao Feng coldly snorted. If they worked together, they would be able to contend against God King Charflame. The main problem was that Baiming Hui was too heavily injured and had some tricks up his sleeve, so he had not used his full strength. Swish! With a wave of the space-time robe, Zhao Feng put his 3 clones into his interspatial dimension. Their cultivations were rather low, so they wouldn't be of much use against the God King. In fact, they would be more likely to die. But after taking away these 3, Zhao Feng released the Black Destruction Dragon. The Black Destruction Dragon had smoothly broken into the second heaven. After all, the Black Destruction Dragon had already reached the first heaven the last time they entered the Light Race Divine Kingdom. Later on, Zhao Feng gave the Black Destruction Dragon the majority of the resources he obtained from killing the 2/3 heaven godlords. Go! Zhao Feng growled. Whoosh! 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 Everyone charged forward. The Black Destruction Dragon, Twilight Valley, and Xian Wuheng were responsible for offense. As for Zhao Feng and Baiming Hui, they possessed primal chaos energy and could effectively block God King Charflame's attacks. They were mainly responsible for defense. Boom! Bang! Crash! The fiery world was filled with explosions, and the flames of the world seemed to be boiling and madly burning. At this moment, the place where they were fighting had become a forbidden ground on an even higher level than the burning heaven sea. Ordinary First Heaven God lords did not even dare to approach. These scoundrels! God King Charflame's expression chilled. For a moment, he was actually being suppressed by the combined might of these people. At his peak, Twilight Valley was close to a God King. He had a profound understanding and experience, making his attacks more effective. The Black Destruction Dragon and Xian Wuheng were also extremely powerful existences of the same level. The Black Destruction Dragon's destruction origin was particularly affected by the suppression. Moreover, the little thieving cat was waiting for a chance to launch a sneak attack. Crucially, God King Charflame's attacks were being hindered by Zhao Feng and Bai Minghui. Zhao Feng's primal chaos energy was no weaker than Bai Minghui's. It was the equivalent of two-third heaven god lords blocking God King Charflame's attacks and weakening them. Moreover, if there was an opening, Zhao Feng would launch a sneak attack on God King Charflame. Primal Chaos Lightning Sword. Zhao Feng's left eye unleashed a primal chaos sword of lightning. God King Charflame coldly snorted. An invisible flame energy surged forward in an attempt to weaken and stop the primal chaos lightning sword. Shift. Origin energy surged in his left eye. At the same time, Zhao Feng used his thought power to create an intense idea. He imagined that he could move the primal chaos lightning sword above God King Charflame. At this moment, the realization ability activated, and Zhao Feng's fantasy became reality. Swish! The primal chaos lightning sword, which had been obstructed by countless flames, suddenly vanished. God King Charflame was rather surprised by this sight. He even thought that he had misjudged and that Zhao Feng's attack was too weak and had been destroyed. But a moment later, he sensed the ripples of energy from the primal chaos lightning sword. Kaplush! Lightning flashed above God King Charflame as the primal chaos lightning sword stabbed into God King Charflame's head. What? How did it appear above me? God King Charflame was stunned. This sort of situation usually involved the use of a space law. But just now, he hadn't sensed any spatial ripples. Hiss! God King Charflame hissed and shook his head, his ruthless gaze falling on Zhao Feng. It's as if nothing happened. Zhao Feng was inwardly alarmed. His primal chaos lightning sword could instantly slay an ordinary second heaven, and even the third heaven Bai Minghui was extremely apprehensive of it. But even though the primal chaos divine sword had accurately stabbed into God King Charflame's head, it didn't seem to affect him much. However, in Bai Minghui's view, Zhao Feng's actions just now were already astonishing. A second heaven god, lord capable of injuring a god king, was simply unheard of. At the same time, Bai Minghui placed even more importance on the abilities of Zhao Feng's ninth god eye. Not even a god king would be able to sense it. Seat of Purgatory! God King Charflame bellowed as he thrust out both palms, unleashing his perfected fire law. The temperature of the world soared as flames madly swelled. With God King Charflame at the center, a blood-red flame began to spread out. Xian Wuheng, Twilight Valley, and the Black Destruction Dragon were instantly sent flying several dozen li by this explosive energy, all of them vomiting blood and grimacing. Zhao Feng, you've angered the God King. Bai Minghui called out. God King Charflame had clearly not used his full strength just now, but the situation was different now. So what if he's a God King? Zhao Feng's expression hardened. A power sealed in dust within the god altar was suddenly mobilized. Buzz! BZZ! Zhao Feng waved his hand, and a dark and chaotic ball of primal chaos energy suddenly emerged. The moment this energy appeared, it absorbed a portion of the fire energy in the surroundings. This primal chaos energy was the same energy that the God King remnant had sealed into Zhao Feng's body in the heaven-mending race inheritance ground. This is God King level primal chaos energy. God King Charflame was stunned. This God King level primal chaos energy had clearly been around for a very long time and was somewhat weakened. But in the end, this was still primal chaos energy. After absorbing the God King level fire energy, it began to grow stronger. BZZ. Zhao Feng gripped this energy, condensed it into a primal chaos divine sword, and then threw it out. God King Charflame was on guard, not daring to be careless. With a wave of his hands, fire condensed into a blazing phoenix. Explode! Zhao Feng suddenly bellowed. God King Charflame was prepared. Even if the primal chaos divine sword struck him, he would still be able to block it. Since that was the case, it was better to just detonate this energy. Bang! The primal chaos lightning sword that had just approached God King Charflame exploded. A pitch-black, twisting energy spread out, devouring everything in its vicinity. In the face of this sudden explosion of primal chaos energy, God King Charflame's blazing phoenix gradually shattered. His blood seethed as he took half a step back. "Brat, you dare!" God King Charflame was enraged. To be injured by a second heaven god lord was a stain on his life that he would never be able to erase. But halfway through his words, his expression darkened. On the other side, Xi and Wuheng and the others were flabbergasted. How could Zhao Feng have God King level primal chaos energy? Bai Ming Hui's mind trembled. If Zhao Feng had used this energy from the start, he would have been dead a long time ago. Chapter 1520. How could Zhao Feng have God King level primal chaos energy? Bai Ming Hui's mind trembled. If Zhao Feng had used this energy from the very beginning, he would have been dead long ago. But even so, Zhao Feng's group had found it difficult to push back God King Charflame. Zhao Feng's God King level divine power was definitely limited. If this battle continued, they would still lose. At this moment, Bai Minghui sensed something and faintly smiled. "Protector, you've finally arrived." In the distance, God King Charflame remained silent, his expression grim. Something isn't right. Zhao Feng sensed something strange, and at the same time his left eye began to pulse. All of a sudden, a world-shaking pressure descended upon the world. The entire world trembled, and Zhao Feng and the others felt like they had been struck by a giant hammer as they sank down. "Careful," Zhao Feng called out as he prepared to leave. Right at this moment, a tall old man appeared behind the crowd. His back was hunched, and his skin was as rough as a 1,000-year-old tree, covered in countless strange and ancient runes. This was the heaven-defying faction protector. The moment the protector appeared, he waved his hand, unleashing a fan of silver light. Boom! Bang! Caught off guard, Zhao Feng's group was caught up in the protector's sneak attack. Everyone hurriedly unleashed their defensive secret techniques, but under the silver light, their defensive techniques were as fragile as paper, and all of them shattered. Plush! Zhao Feng's group was sent flying several dozen li, their faces ghastly pale as they vomited blood. Fortunately, the protector's attack had been a sudden one, or else their lives would have been in danger. Whoosh! The protector's hand turned, causing the surrounding space to freeze and slow to a crawl. At the same time, the blood Zhao Feng vomited condensed into a bead that flew into the protector's hand. Heaven's legacy race protector. Zhao Feng's expression darkened. Now 2 God Kings had arrived, and Zhao Feng, Twilight Valley, Xen Wuheng, and the others were all heavily injured. It was almost impossible for them to resist. Moreover, in Zhao Feng's mind, the Heaven's Legacy Race Protector was much stronger than ordinary God Kings. As for why the Protector took his blood away, he didn't think too much about it. Guardian, thank goodness you made it in time. Ba Minghui smiled. He did not like the feeling of his life being controlled by another God Monarch. Divine Emissary Dark North, where are the others? The Protector asked calmly. All of a sudden, Bai Ming Hui's expression froze, and his mind trembled slightly. But in front of the Protector, he didn't dare lie. Divine Emissary Chong, as well as the 3 Palace Kings, Tianji and Tyrant Dragon, were killed by Zhao Feng's group. A bunch of useless things. The Protector's voice turned cold. All they needed to do was delay the 9th God Eye, but Baiming Hui and the others had suffered grievous losses and almost allowed Zhao Feng to escape. Baiming Hui immediately got down on one knee, a look of fear on his face. "Protector, please forgive me. Good sir is looking down on this old man too much." At this moment, God King Charflame said in dissatisfaction. The Protector had completely ignored God King Charflame after arriving, reprimanding his subordinates as if no one else was around. This made God King Charflame feel like he had lost a great deal of face. But the Protector's next words almost made God King Charflame vomit blood. "I truly am looking down on you," the Protector coldly said. "The Heaven's legacy race is too arrogant. This is the territory of the Purgatory Sacred Land." God King Charflame was enraged and did not bother with politeness. At this moment, several powerful ripples of energy appeared in the distance, and a few moments later, several god lords arrived. There were 2/3 heavens and 4 second heavens, all upper echelon god lords of the Purgatory Sacred Land. In the ancient, desolate realm of gods, everything depends on strength, the Protector argued. Not long after the Purgatory Sacred Land experts arrived, a white-robed divine emissary from the heaven-defying faction arrived with 3 palace kings. For the Heaven's legacy race, to send such a force to capture Zhao Yufei, one could see just how much importance they placed on Zhao Yufei and Zhao Feng. The 2 factions were getting stronger and stronger. At this time, even if Zhao Feng's side was at its peak, it would not be able to contend against either side. However, there was still a chance to turn things around. Both the heaven-defying faction and Purgatory Sacred Land wanted the 9th God Eye, and this was the Purgatory Sacred Land's territory, so the Sacred Land clearly had more manpower. Moreover, Zhao Feng's group had just been heavily injured by the Protector. In the eyes of the 2 factions, their strength was so negligible that they could be ignored. "Are you sure that you want to compete with me for the 9th God Eye?" God King Charflame asked with a faint smile. This was the Purgatory Sacred Land's territory. With his order, more and more experts would gather. "Compete? You're no match for me. You don't have the right to compete with me." The Protector had remained calm and composed this entire time. "Haha, let me see just how strong an expert of the Heaven's legacy race is." God King Charflame heartily laughed. The moment he finished speaking, the world began to burn as boundless flames gathered toward God King Charflame. God King Charflame was like a blazing sun, radiating a scarlet radiance. Moreover, the energy gathering around him was getting stronger and stronger. It was like a blazing sun slowly rising, the heat constantly climbing. The nearby god lords felt like they couldn't breathe. Space itself seemed to be on the verge of melting. God King Charflame held nothing back against the God King of the Heaven's legacy race, even going all out and displaying his strongest power. Zhao Feng's group immediately retreated a certain distance. "Is that all?" The Protector's expression remained calm. Swish! With a wave of his hand, a dazzling golden-red fan appeared in his hand. This golden-red fan was formed from layers upon layers of feathers, exuding dazzling golden-red flames. The moment the feather fan appeared, the golden-red flames were released. The blood-red flames in the area immediately retreated, and their power gradually weakened. The flame energy gathered around God King Charflame's body also dimmed somewhat. Invisible fire energy began to gather around the golden-red fan. As the golden-red flames burned brighter and brighter, the image of a golden crow could be faintly discerned. Could this be ancestral artifact, blazing hell? God King Charflame's eyes went slack as his mind trembled. The supreme ancestral artifact of the fire law, blazing hell, a treasure that all fire law cultivators dreamed of. But this ancestral artifact had shattered in the ancient era. Ancestral artifact, blazing hell. Shock appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The invisible aura of the fan caused even his 3 ancestral artifact fragments to tremble. Whoosh! The Protector circulated his divine power and fused it into the fan. In a flash, The flames around the fan swelled to more than 100 times their original size, becoming a fan of flames that blotted out the sun. Boom! The protector waved his hand, and a golden crow flew out of the fan. The endless flames in the world immediately switched sides and assisted the golden crow. God King Charflame sensed that he was gradually losing control over the world, and even his fire attacks were somewhat suppressed. No, this can't be the ancestral artifact, blazing hell. God King Charflame bellowed. Swish! A golden red feather appeared in his hand. This was one of the fragments of the ancestral artifact, blazing hell. In the face of the protector's powerful attack, God King Charflame activated the ancestral artifact fragment and unleashed a blazing red sun. Boom! Bang! A golden crow brazenly lunged at the red sun, unleashing an endless storm of flames that swept through the world. Retreat! Retreat! Other than the two God Kings, all the experts present began to retreat. The second heaven god lords closest to God King Charflame were unable to retreat in time and were assailed by the flames. Zhao Feng's group was rather far from the battlefield, but in the face of this storm of flames, they still felt like their bodies were boiling and their bloodline and divine power seemed to be on fire. Zhao Feng immediately activated his left eye and looked at the center of the battlefield. The massive golden crow had torn the red sun in two and was now flying at God King Charflame. However, this golden crow had also dimmed a bit, and its power had weakened. Blazing sun protection. God King Charflame immediately used his defensive secret skill. Boundless flames formed a red halo around his body that protected him. Boom! Bang! The golden crow swooped down, sending God King Charflame flying backward, his defensive halo shattering with a crack. God King Charflame quickly stabilized himself and stared at the protector. This isn't a true ancestral artifact, but a pseudo-ancestral artifact, God King Charflame confidently said. He himself had an ancestral item fragment of blazing hell, so he was sure that protector didn't have blazing hell, but a pseudo-ancestral item that had been created from the majority of the fragments. A God King with an ancestral artifact could be called a ruler. The protector was clearly not, but even so, the power of the pseudo-ancestral artifact was extremely close to that of a true ancestral artifact. It was not something that God King Charflame could contend against. The protector was not skilled in the law of fire, but he was able to use the pseudo-ancestral artifact to wound God King Charflame. If the protector was skilled in the fire law, God King Charflame would not be in his current state. It really is a pseudo-ancestral artifact, Twilight Valley muttered. Zhao Feng was startled. Such power, and it was only a pseudo-ancestral artifact? At the same time, he also realized that God Lord Heavenly Solitude clearly had the blazing hell fragment, but he had not used it in the previous battle. As it turned out, the Heaven's Legacy race had already taken the remaining ancestral artifact fragment and reforged it into a pseudo-ancestral artifact. That's right. The protector nodded, and the pseudo-ancestral artifact in his hand vanished. In the distance, God King Charflame had a conflicted look on his face. Even if it wasn't the true ancestral artifact, blazing hell, he still deeply desired the pseudo-ancestral artifact. This item was even more attractive to him than the ninth God Eye. After all, he might not be able to fuse with a God Eye, but there was no such problem with the pseudo-ancestral artifact. Once he obtained it, he could refine it into his own. But God King Charflame knew that he was no match for the heaven-defying faction protector. The pseudo-ancestral artifact had no fate with him. God King Charflame and the God Lords of the Purgatory's sacred land slowly began to retreat. They had already withdrawn from the struggle for the ninth God Eye. Zhao Feng, we meet again. Now that you've returned to the Divine Kingdom, don't ever leave again. At this moment, the protector turned to Zhao Feng and gave him a frightening smile. Chapter 1521. Zhao Feng, we meet again. Now that you've returned to the Divine Kingdom, don't ever leave again. The protector turned to Zhao Feng and gave him a frightening smile. Twilight Valley, Xian Wuheng, and the others trembled in fear. If the protector's target was only Zhao Feng, then the result for them would be death. Seeing the protector walk over, even Zhao Feng's heart started to panic. If this was an ordinary god king, they might have been able to resist once they used all their trump cards. But the protector was no ordinary god king, and he also possessed a powerful technique like the pseudo-ancestral artifact. A casual attack from him could kill them all. Zhao Feng, I'll make a deal with you. If you're willing to cooperate with us and hand over the ninth god eye, I can spare everyone else's lives. The protector faintly smiled and made a proposal. Zhao Feng's group instantly froze. No one had expected the protector to make such a proposal at a time like this. The Heaven's legacy race protector truly is crafty and cunning. Zhao Feng inwardly cursed. This proposal was truly difficult to make. Oh, I forgot. The Heaven Lord ordered me to cripple your cultivation first. You have to think about it carefully. You must carefully consider this, the protector added, a wicked smile on his face. It was obvious that the protector was reminding Zhao Feng that if he agreed to the proposal just now, he would not have his cultivation crippled. A god lord could be considered an expert of the ancient desolate realm of gods. If one's cultivation was crippled and they had to cultivate again, it would be even crueler than killing them. In addition, Zhao Feng had originally thought that if he was captured again, he might be able to use thought teleportation to leave, but if his cultivation was crippled, he wasn't sure if he could succeed. Putting all this aside, Zhao Feng was now faced with a difficult choice. But all of a sudden, an aura that caused everyone's hearts to sink appeared in the air. None of you are allowed to touch him. A deep and resounding voice echoed through the world, causing space itself to tremble. In a flash, the haze was driven away and the flames extinguished. The energies of the two god kings were suppressed by this mysterious person. This energy, could it be him? The protector's expression darkened. In the distance, God King Charflame and the others felt their hearts sink. Is that a sovereign? God King Charflame's eyes went wide as he scanned the world. Among god kings, the Heaven's legacy race protector could be said to have few opponents. Only god kings and gods could surpass the heaven-defying faction protector in terms of power. What happened? Zhao Feng was startled. Was there an even more formidable expert coming to fight for the ninth god eye? Whoosh! Suddenly, a tall man in a golden white coat appeared above everyone's head. He stood within the platinum lightning, exuding boundless divine might. When everyone's eyes met this person's, their minds were immediately attacked by an invisible force. All the sins they had committed in the past floated up in their minds, and they gradually revealed expressions of fear and guilt. The world was silent, and everything seemed to submit to this person. This is the divine punishment power of the divine punishment god, I. The protector sighed in his heart. Under the power of the heavenly punishment, all evil had nowhere to hide. It was impossible for a person to not make mistakes in their life. So anyone who faced the divine punishment god, I would be restrained to a certain extent. I didn't think that it would be the divine punishment god. God King Charflame bowed in shock. He had never imagined that today's events would attract the divine punishment god, Eye of the 8 great god eyes. God Eye. Zhao Feng sensed an extremely familiar energy from this middle-aged man. But logically speaking, god eye deities already had god eyes, so why would they need the 9th god eye? People of the Heaven's legacy race leave. The divine punishment god calmly said, as if he was announcing an order that had to be carried out. I didn't think that the divine punishment god would personally come. Since that's the case, we can only leave. The protector sighed, his expression rather indifferent. What? Bai Minghui was stunned, his heart extremely depressed. He hadn't expected that they would still fail to capture the 9th god eye. But with a god eye deity interfering, there was nothing they could do about it. Anyone who obtained the title of god was undoubtedly one of the strongest experts of the ancient desolate realm of gods, someone far above a god king. Gods were virtually indestructible. No one had ever heard of a god dying since ancient times. From this, one could see just how powerful god kings and gods were. Thus, when the divine punishment god appeared, even someone as strong as the protector had no desire to fight and immediately chose to leave. "Let's go," the protector called out as he led the heaven-defying faction members away. Even though he had a pseudo-ancestral artifact, he was still some distance away from a true god. And the divine punishment god was extremely stubborn about what he had set his mind on. Remaining here was meaningless. Zhao Feng's group watched as the Heaven's Legacy race members left, their hearts even heavier. God-eye deities were definitely stronger existences than the Protector's group. "All of you come with me." Once the heaven-defying faction was gone, the divine punishment god turned to Zhao Feng's group. "Where to?" Zhao Feng asked. "I'm taking you back to you, Tianwu's place." The divine punishment god's answer left everyone dumbfounded. It turned out that this god was not an enemy, but someone who had come to save them. Although they didn't know the reason, it was enough for them to escape danger. "Let's go." With a wave of his hand, the divine punishment god vanished with Zhao Feng's group. Only the Purgatory Sacred Land group remained. God King Charflame sighed. For two people that the Sacred Land could not afford to offend to appear in the territory of the Purgatory Sacred Land was truly humiliating. The Thousand Mountain Zone, the secret base of the Sage faction. Swish. Lightning crackled in the air as a group of people emerged. They were all pleasantly surprised. At the start, they didn't believe it, but the divine punishment god really did send them back. The group went to the top floor of the six-sided tower. "Tianwu, I brought them back," the divine punishment god casually said. "I've troubled you." Yu Tianwu faintly smiled. The two of them not only knew each other, but had a deep relationship. Only now did everyone realize that the divine punishment god had been invited by Yu Tianwu. Yu Tianwu had already planned for the worst, and had even prepared for it. At the final moment of their defeat, the divine punishment god had appeared and saved them all. "After all, I owe you a favor, and I've returned it." The divine punishment god had a rather serious expression. Everyone in the world had their own questions, and the god was no different. He had once asked Yu Tianwu a few questions and owed him a favor. "Many thanks for Senior's help." Zhao Feng, Twilight Valley, Xi and Wuheng, and the others immediately said. They didn't believe that a god they didn't know would save them, but now that they understood everything, they thanked him. "Don't be in such a hurry to return the favor. I was planning to ask you for another favor." Yu Qianwu suddenly smiled. "Is it for the ninth god eye?" The divine punishment god's gaze fell on Zhao Feng. At the same time, Zhao Feng examined the divine punishment god's god eye. Those eyes seemed to crackle with platinum lightning, and when he looked at them, he would feel all sorts of guilt. He would suddenly feel like he was extremely insignificant while this person before him was majestic and imposing. "You're not interested in the ninth god eye? He's also a member of your god eye." Yu Qianwu was all smiles. "A member of the god eye?" The divine punishment god carefully examined Zhao Feng. Of the 8 great god eyes, only 1 or 2 believed in the existence of the ninth god eye. Although the divine punishment god sensed an extremely familiar energy from Zhao Feng's body, he also had a strange feeling. "Okay, then I'll stay with you for a while," the divine punishment god suddenly said. The divine punishment god could guess at what Yu Tianwu wanted to help. It was just to help Zhao Feng increase his cultivation and strength as quickly as possible. As a fellow god, the divine punishment god, could give something to Zhao Feng that no one else could. The divine punishment god had agreed partly to repay Yu Tianwu's favor and partly for the ninth god eye. As the divine punishment god, he had no need for other god eyes. However, any god eye would one day become a god, and the status of a god in the ancient desolate realm of gods went without saying. The ancient desolate realm of gods had 8 great god eyes, but the 8 great god eyes had many grudges against each other. The 8 great god eyes were currently divided into 2 camps. One side was the life god eye, divine punishment god eye, and space-time god eye. The other side was the death god eye, samsara god eye, and destruction god eye. As for the myriad forms god Ai and the destiny god Ai, they belonged to neither camp. They had tried to rope in these two camps, but even finding them was rather difficult, especially the destiny god Ai. If the divine punishment god could form a good relationship with Zhao Feng and rope in Zhao Feng, then once Zhao Feng became a god Ai deity, he would be able to increase the overall strength of the divine punishment god Ai's camp. It didn't take long for the group to disperse. Zhao Feng moved Zhao Yufei out of the divine kingdom. Brother Feng, are we safe? Zhao Yufei was not very comfortable in the divine kingdom. This was because she knew that Zhao Feng, Xi and Wuheng, and company were facing unknown dangers outside. This is the territory of the Heaven's legacy race's sage faction. We're extremely safe, Zhao Feng said with a smile. This place was protected by destiny energy, making it very difficult for the heaven-defying faction to find them. Moreover, the divine punishment god was here. At the same time, the protector led the group back to the heaven-defying faction divine kingdom. The Heaven Lord had been waiting at the top of the central island of the Heaven's legacy city. Love Protector, I didn't think that even you would fail. The Heaven Lord was rather surprised, as he emotionally said. It had been a very long time since they had tasted consecutive defeats, and this was all after the ninth god Ai had appeared. The Heaven Lord did not blame the Protector, because he understood the Protector's strength. If even the Protector had failed, then they might have been facing a god-king level of power. The divine punishment god has appeared. The Protector shook his head. One of the 8 great god eyes. The Heaven Lord's expression darkened, a hint of anger appearing on his face. But I managed to obtain some of Zhao Feng's blood. I hope that it will be useful. The Protector flipped his palm, revealing a transparent glass tube containing a bead of blood. The ninth god Ai has invisibly altered Zhao Feng's soul and flesh. This blood might contain a secret related to the ninth god Ai. The Heaven Lord's eyes flashed. Chapter 1522. After moving Zhao Yufei out of the Dream Divine Kingdom, Zhao Feng explained everything that had happened. The heaven-defying faction had attacked Zhao Yufei in order to force Zhao Feng out of the Dream Divine Kingdom. It was only right for her to know everything. Zhao Feng also truthfully told her about Lu Qinxin's matter. After all, the two women would eventually meet in the Sage faction's secret base. What Lu Qinxin? Zhao Yufei was stunned, not knowing what to do. She naturally remembered this name. She was Zhao Feng's fiancée. But Zhao Yufei had never imagined that this name would appear again, and that Lu Qinxin would be here in person. She is currently in the Sage faction. She also helped us a lot in this operation. Zhao Feng continued. This time, without the Sage faction's Destiny Dao power, they would not have been able to find Zhao Yufei first. The heaven-defying faction would have been the first to succeed. If that had happened, Zhao Yufei would definitely have been captured and brought to the heaven-defying faction's divine kingdom. Even the divine punishment god might not have been able to save her. Moreover, the divine punishment god was only returning a favor to you, Tianwu. There was no need for him to directly clash with the powerful heaven-defying faction. Lu Qinxin, for my sake. Zhao Yufei's eyes were wide and misty. She had never imagined that Lu Qinxin would secretly assist her and save her life. This time, Zhao Feng, the light race, the giant god race, the sage faction, and Lu Qinxin had done everything they could to save her life. Zhao Yufei felt a trace of guilt when she thought of this. At this moment, a woman in white slowly walked over. It's great that you're fine. Lu Qinxin looked at Zhao Yufei and said of her own accord. The two had met at the Azure Flower Continent's sacred True Dragon gathering and knew each other. Many thanks for your help. No matter what, the other was someone who had saved her. Zhao Yufei had a trace of gratitude. Zhao Feng stood to the side, his heart not calm. In his opinion, it was already surprising that the two of them did not quarrel. After all, Zhao Yufei had parted ways with him because of Lu Qinxin. Sister Yufei, you've just arrived. I'm here to see if you need anything. Lu Qinxin smiled faintly. Zhao Yufei was at a loss. She glanced at Zhao Feng and said with a complicated expression, I don't need anything. Thank you for your concern. Zhao Yufei could tell that Zhao Feng was also in a dilemma. Moreover, Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin should have only met recently. In comparison, Zhao Yufei and Zhao Feng recognized each other earlier and spent more time together. Although she didn't want to have another person in Zhao Feng's heart, she didn't want to accept another person. However, Zhao Yufei wanted to fight for it herself and not throw the problem to Zhao Feng, letting Zhao Feng worry about it and make a decision for him. Therefore, Zhao Yufei chose to face it head-on. At the side, Zhao Feng looked shocked. Zhao Yufei and Lu Qinxin's words were very calm. There was no sense of jealousy. This was completely beyond Zhao Feng's understanding. Zhao Feng even wondered if these two women didn't like him as much as they used to and thus didn't care. Of course, this thought was quickly erased by Zhao Feng. At this moment, a deep and loud voice sounded in Zhao Feng's area. Zhao Feng, come to me. Yufei, the Divine Punishment Master, is looking for me. I'll leave first. Zhao Feng was a little excited. The Divine Punishment Master had taken the initiative to look for him so soon. According to the conversation between the Divine Punishment Master and Yu Tianwu, Zhao Feng could be sure that the Divine Punishment Master stayed here for him. Soon, Zhao Feng arrived at the Divine Punishment Master's residence. Greetings, Senior Divine Punishment. Zhao Feng bowed. If you want me to guide you, you must answer my questions without holding anything back. The Divine Punishment Master got straight to the point, his expression serious. Zhao Feng was taken aback. The God's spiritual eye was his greatest secret, and he was used to keeping his secret. But the Divine Punishment Master himself had a God eye and knew that he was the ninth God eye's clone, so he didn't look down on him. In the end, Zhao Feng nodded. After all, he still needed to rely on the Divine Punishment Master to increase his strength as quickly as possible. Countless people dreamed of receiving the guidance of a god. What are the abilities of your ninth God eye? The Divine Punishment Master directly asked. The 8 great God eyes all had their own absolute domains that they specialized in, and the ninth God eye was probably no exception. It should be the Soul Tao, the Dream Tao. Zhao Feng wasn't sure about this sudden question. The Divine Punishment God was rather surprised. As the ninth God eye, Zhao Feng didn't even seem to know the abilities of a God eye. But from the Soul Tao and Dream Tao that Zhao Feng mentioned, the Divine Punishment God had a rough idea of what the ninth God eye was. I'm not skilled in this aspect. The Divine Punishment God slightly shook his head. It was obvious that he was not suited to guide Zhao Feng. In fact, a God King skilled in the Soul Tao or the Dream Tao would be more useful to Zhao Feng than him. But Yu Tianwu probably wouldn't do something so foolish. The Divine Punishment God's left, I focused on Zhao Feng, and then a strange look appeared on his face. This was because he sensed a rather amiable energy from Zhao Feng. Senior's Divine Punishment energy should be somewhat related to Tribulation Lightning energy. Besides cultivating the Soul Tao, this junior also cultivates the Lightning Tao. Zhao Feng sensed the Divine Punishment God's confusion and said, "Swish." At the same time, he activated his Lightning Soul Body and unleashed Boundless Tribulation Lightning energy. A unique Lightning Soul Body. Not bad. The Divine Punishment God nodded. Tribulation Lightning energy could be considered a part of Divine Punishment energy. Although it was not as powerful as Divine Punishment energy, it was still one of the best in terms of destructive power. As the Divine Punishment God, he could not only instruct Zhao Feng in his God Eye, but he could also improve Zhao Feng's ability to use Tribulation Lightning. He truly was suited to instructing Zhao Feng. Okay, you can cultivate with me for now. The Divine Punishment God seriously said. Zhao Feng nodded. As the ninth God Eye, if he did not have enough power, he would have to worry about others coveting the ninth God Eye. Thus, Zhao Feng urgently wished to increase his strength. I have a supreme scripture here called the Tribulation Lightning Sacred Scripture. I'll demonstrate it to you first. Comprehend as much as you can. The Divine Punishment God stood up, waved his hand, and brought Zhao Feng into his divine kingdom. Within the divine kingdom, all things were bathed in sunlight, brimming with vitality and vitality. There were no clouds in the sky, only layers of golden white lightning swimming about. "Watch carefully," the divine punishment god suddenly called out. Zhao Feng immediately focused his mind and activated his dream god eye. He hadn't expected for the divine punishment god to immediately demonstrate a combat skill on the level of a supreme scripture. Perhaps he simply didn't care about such a thing. However, a supreme scripture was still a priceless treasure to experts below the God King level. No one in the ancient, desolate realm of gods could match the divine punishment god's ability to use divine punishment energy, and tribulation lightning energy was a part of divine punishment energy. The divine punishment god had an unparalleled understanding of it. Swish! The endless golden white lightning slowly transformed into golden white lightning. Although they were both tribulation lightning energy, the divine punishment god's tribulation lightning energy was of a much higher level than Zhao Feng's. Zhao Feng activated his left eye and carefully observed everything. Swish! Although the divine punishment god was standing motionless, the tribulation lightning energy in the air was madly surging, transforming into all sorts of forms as if it were evolving some profound great Tao for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng sensed that each pulse of lightning contained boundless information, making it impossible for him to grasp it. And when he comprehended some of this information, it would be imprinted into his soul, transforming into an understanding that could only be understood, not conveyed. Gradually, the tribulation lightning energy in the air calmed down. Cultivate here. I will come back in 2 months to see the results. With these words, the divine punishment god left the divine kingdom. But to Zhao Feng, the divine punishment god was already being extremely generous in instructing him. Vast amounts of pure tribulation lightning energy filled the air. This was what the divine punishment god had left for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng seated himself cross-legged on the ground. A portion of the tribulation lightning sacred scripture appeared in his mind, and he began to comprehend it. Comprehending the power of the lightning tribulation was extremely beneficial to his lightning soul constitution. Moreover, Zhao Feng's soul-attacking eye bloodline technique was connected to tribulation lightning energy, and primal chaos energy could also fuse with tribulation lightning energy. Increasing the strength of tribulation lightning energy would greatly increase Zhao Feng's own strength. Because he had to display his results in 2 months, Zhao Feng spent the next 2 months wholeheartedly comprehending the tribulation lightning sacred scripture. 2 months later, the quality of Zhao Feng's tribulation lightning energy had increased significantly, and his ability to use tribulation lightning energy had also reached a whole new level. Swish! The divine punishment god suddenly appeared. Begin, the divine punishment god calmly said. Swish! Zhao Feng immediately gathered his tribulation lightning energy and primal chaos energy. A moment later, a primal chaos tribulation lightning sword appeared. At the start, Zhao Feng would first condense the primal chaos divine sword and then pour his tribulation lightning energy into it. But now Zhao Feng could do it instantly. Swish! A moment later, the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword separated into a primal chaos sword and a tribulation lightning sword. Not bad. He even cultivates primal chaos energy. The divine punishment god had a new level of respect for Zhao Feng. It seemed that he had truly underestimated the 9th god eye. Zhao Feng didn't just possess the power of a god eye. He also had other powerful abilities. With the divine punishment god's approval, the divine punishment god began to pay even more attention to Zhao Feng, often giving him guidance. The divine punishment god's guidance was not just on tribulation lightning, but also on cultivation experience, and god eyes. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. In this period of time, besides cultivating with the divine punishment god, Zhao Feng would occasionally make time to visit Exine Wuheng, Zhao Yufei, Lu Qinxin, and the others. In this period of time, Zhao Feng's primary focus was on cultivation. To his surprise, he discovered that Zhao Yufei and Lu Qinxin seemed to be rather close. Their relationship was not as stiff as he imagined. Perhaps it was because the two of them were from the Azure Flower Continent, and Zhao Yufei didn't know many people here. Moreover, the two of them were women, so they naturally began to walk together. In the central six-sided tower, a senior sage stood at the center. Yu Qianwu calmly sat above him. Reporting to the Heaven Lord, the heaven-defying faction has made a major move. The black-robed sage called out. Oh, what about them? Yu Qianwu's eyes glimmered. They've broken into the Chixing Zone's illusion god sacred land. The black-robed sage immediately replied. The heaven-defying faction truly had been extremely ostentatious in the fall of a sacred land. This matter naturally attracted the attention of the other sacred lands. But the Heaven's Legacy race's reason for declaring war was that the illusion god sacred land's god lord had killed a heaven-defying faction god lord, and the heaven-defying faction's negotiations with them failed, so they ultimately declared war. The reason was ample, and the evidence was conclusive. The other factions could not say much about the heaven-defying faction's actions. It seems like they're about to move. Yu Qianwu closed his eyes for a while before sighing. Chapter 1523. Within the Divine Punishment God's Divine Kingdom, Zhao Feng was seated cross-legged in a tribulation lightning domain. At this moment, he was releasing his soul body to comprehend and absorb the powerful tribulation lightning energy around him. Zhao Feng's soul intent, tempered by tribulation lightning energy, had reached the peak of the second heaven, only a step away from the third heaven. Through this period of comprehension, Zhao Feng's lightning law had also made enormous progress, and he was on the verge of reaching the small success level. And Zhao Feng's tribulation lightning eye bloodline techniques, and his ability to fuse primal chaos energy with tribulation lightning energy had also reached a whole new level. In summary, Zhao Feng's overall strength had increased significantly. If he were to face Bai Minghui now, Zhao Feng was very confident that he could quickly defeat or even kill him. It was difficult to imagine that the God Lord level Zhao Feng had made such enormous progress in just a few short years. He had to thank the Divine Punishment God for all of this. Of course, Zhao Feng was not the only one who had improved. Within the Dream Divine Kingdom, the Black Destruction Dragon, his clones, and the Ancient Beasts had also greatly improved. Previously, Zhao Feng's group had killed a divine emissary and several palace kings. The spoils of war had been distributed according to merit, and Zhao Feng had obtained many precious resources, which he had given to his subordinates. Zhao Feng had even taken out some natural resources and obtained the ancestral artifact fragment from God, Lord Tyrant Dragon's spoils of war, which he then bestowed upon the Black Destruction Dragon. The Light Race and Giant God Race urgently needed to increase their overall strength and resources. Moreover, very few of them could use the ancestral artifact fragment infused with the destruction law, so they gave it to Zhao Feng. The Black Destruction Dragon had smoothly broken into the second heaven through the use of resources and the Sage faction's secret dimensions and facilities. Besides that, the other clones had also received massive boosts from the resources and the Sage faction's secret dimensions and facilities. Zhao Hui, who had the Eye of Samsara, had become a god lord while the other clones had reached the peak of the first heaven and were extremely close to the second heaven. Zhao Yufei was not idling around either. She spent the majority of her time cultivating. She had just become a god lord, so she only needed an extremely short amount of time to completely stabilize her cultivation. Zhao Yufei had the inheritance of the divine martial clan, and with the guidance of many experts here, her cultivation path could be said to be unimpeded, and her progress was rapid. There was also Giant God Hall. With Giant God Hall taking root in this excellent cultivation environment, its overall strength rapidly increased. The Great Elder, who had reached the peak of the first heaven a long time ago, broke through to the second heaven under the guidance of the Sage faction's higher-ups. But what excited Giant God Hall the most was that their Hall Master Exine Wuheng had broken into the third heaven. One day, Zhao Feng left the divine punishment god's divine kingdom and sought out Exine Wuheng in Twilight Valley to exchange pointers. During his time at the Sage faction, Zhao Feng would often find the two of them to spar with, but he would not use the Ninth God Eye's abilities during this spar. At the start, Zhao Feng had lost once. After all, Twilight Valley was extremely strong, and if Twilight Valley used his full strength and Exine Wuheng's assistance, Zhao Feng would find it rather difficult to win without using the Ninth God Eye. But the second time, Zhao Feng managed to reverse the situation, and from then on, he never lost again. "Come," Twilight Valley flatly said. "Brother Zhao, I won't let you in so easily this time." Exine Wuheng faintly smiled. Swish! Zhao Feng also smiled, and with a flip of his palm, primal chaos energy and tribulation lightning energy surged out, instantly condensing into a primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. On the other side, Twilight Valley and Exine Wuheng had grim expressions as they activated their bloodlines and attacked with all their might. If an outsider were to see this, they would definitely find it inconceivable. The third heaven experts of the light race and giant god race were actually using their bloodlines against the second heaven. Thuish! Twilight Valley transformed into a streak of white light that shot toward Zhao Feng. With a wave of his hand, an unending stream of time energy blades howled forward like rippling waves on a lake. Zhao Feng's eyes turned gloomy as he stabbed forward with the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. Bang! A dreadful explosion caused the world to tremble. Zhao Feng stabbed forward, destroying all the time energy blades in front of him. But even more time, energy blades howled toward him from other directions. A single primal chaos tribulation lightning sword would not be enough to contend against them. Swish! At this moment, the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword in Zhao Feng's hand began to madly crackle with lightning. Gradually, the endless lightning extended from the sword and swam in the air, weaving together to form a lightning net. From a distance, Zhao Feng was no longer holding a sword, but an umbrella. This was the result of Zhao Feng's recent cultivation. It allowed him to transform the tribulation lightning energy attached to the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. At this moment, the tribulation lightning energy condensed into a net, undoubtedly increasing the attack range of the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword. Boom! Swish! Swish! With a wave of the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword, the enormous attack range of tribulation lightning instantly caused even more time energy blades to appear. A few moments later, all the time energy blades in the air had been destroyed by Zhao Feng. At this moment, Exine Wuheng suddenly exerted his strength. A boundless pressure engulfed Zhao Feng. At the same time, he gathered up his bloodline and divine power and thrust out 2 fingers, unleashing several powerful gusts of energy that stabbed at Zhao Feng. Swoosh, swoosh. Zhao Feng swung the primal chaos tribulation lightning sword, unleashing primal chaos tribulation lightning sword bolts. Thanks to the god's spiritual eye, each bolt accurately struck Exine Wuheng's attack. Boom! Bang! That powerful explosion caused Exine Wuheng to involuntarily take a few steps back. What power! Exine Wuheng was startled. He had broken into the third heaven, but in terms of divine power attacks, he was far inferior to Zhao Feng. In the following battle, all of Exine Wuheng's and Twilight Valley's attacks were countered by Zhao Feng. In terms of speed, not even Twilight Valley could escape Zhao Feng's pursuit. In the end, Twilight Valley and Exine Wuheng conceded. "Kid, you've gotten stronger too quickly." Twilight Valley couldn't help but sigh. He hadn't expected that he, a mighty third heaven of the light race, working together with another third heaven, would be forced to concede by Zhao Feng. Moreover, this was even when Zhao Feng wasn't using the Ninth God Eye. "I'll be leaving first." Zhao Feng was just preparing to return to the divine punishment god's divine kingdom to continue cultivating. But when he reached his destination, the divine punishment god was no longer there. It seems like the divine punishment god left. Zhao Feng sighed. The divine punishment god had mentioned this to Zhao Feng before. Zhao Feng was more than satisfied with the guidance of a god for 3 years. Moreover, Zhao Feng's progress in the Tribulation Lightning Dao had already been significant enough. Once the divine punishment god left, Zhao Feng began to cultivate the primal chaos scripture. After all, this was the technique he primarily cultivated. After 3 years of cultivation, Zhao Feng's foundation was extremely solid. Now, Zhao Feng could attempt to increase his cultivation. He split his mind into 2 parts. One part would be used to cultivate and comprehend laws, while the other would be used to study the profound combat skills of the primal chaos scripture. Zhao Feng had already mastered the primal chaos lock, so it was time for him to learn an even more powerful primal chaos combat skill. After some selection, Zhao Feng decided on a domain-type skill called the primal chaos domain. Once this skill was activated, it could create a primal chaos domain. Within this domain, Zhao Feng's primal chaos energy would be strengthened, and his energy would be endless. Meanwhile, his enemies would be pushed away by the world, their divine power of various attributes suppressed and devoured by the primal chaos domain. Another 3 years passed. During these 3 years, Zhao Feng immersed himself in cultivation. He had already made some progress with the primal chaos domain, and his comprehension of laws and divine power had smoothly reached a new level. Peak second heaven. Primal chaos domain. Zhao Feng called out, his body surging with primal chaos energy that fused with the surrounding space. A few moments later, the surrounding area for hundreds of thousands of li became dark. Primal chaos energy absorbed everything, and the air was filled with streams of primal chaos energy. In this place, Zhao Feng could easily use large amounts of primal chaos energy, further increasing his fighting power. Everything that entered this area would be greatly suppressed and devoured. One day, Zhao Feng ended his seclusion and prepared to find Twilight Valley in Exine Wuheng to test out the power of his new combat skill. But the moment he exited his seclusion, he discovered that Zhao Yufei was nearby, apparently waiting for him for some time. "Yufei, what's the matter?" Zhao Feng asked. "Some time ago, when I was communicating with the upper echelon of the spiritual race, I learned that the spiritual race has recently encountered some problems." Zhao Yufei truthfully replied. After being away from the spiritual race for so long, it was normal for them to contact each other. But Zhao Yufei learned that the spiritual race had encountered a major problem. As a member of the spiritual race, Zhao Yufei had essentially remained with the spiritual race ever since she arrived in the ancient desolate realm of gods. The spiritual race had treated her well, even entrusting the future of the spiritual race to Zhao Yufei. Zhao Yufei felt a deep sense of belonging to the spiritual race. "I'll go back with you to take a look," Zhao Feng offered. "But, Brother Feng," Zhao Yufei was taken aback. Although Zhao Feng had gotten much stronger, he still had not reached the level where he could completely guarantee the safety of the Ninth God Eye. Moreover, if the heaven-defying faction still wanted the Ninth God Eye, they would definitely have spies in the vicinity of the spiritual race. "There's no need to worry," Zhao Feng faintly smiled. The divine punishment god not only guided Zhao Feng in his lightning tribulation and cultivation problems, he also helped Zhao Feng unearth the abilities of the Ninth God Eye. In the 3 years under the guidance of the divine punishment god, Zhao Feng's dream god eye abilities had gotten much stronger. For example, dreamification's range had increased, its effects had been strengthened, and its consumption had been greatly reduced. His ability to turn dreams into reality had also become even more ridiculous. In the past, the realization ability could only be used on relatively small objects. But after some digging and training, the realization ability could now be used on objects the size of an ordinary house. There was also thought teleportation. Now, Zhao Feng no longer needed to enter a dream. He only needed to create a dream dimension to use it. This greatly reduced the time needed to use thought teleportation. This also meant that in the face of unknown danger, Zhao Feng's chances of completely escaping were much higher. For this reason, even if the heaven-defying faction had set up a net in the spiritual race. Zhao Feng was rather confident that he could escape unscathed. But this was an important matter, so Zhao Feng still went to ask a sage. Zhao Feng, even this old man finds it very difficult to divine the current development of the situation. Yu Qianwu calmly said, "Did something major happen?" Zhao Feng sensed that many things had happened while he was cultivating. 3 years ago, the illusion god's sacred land of the Qixing Zone fought with a heaven-defying faction, and in the end, the sacred land was conquered. Now, the heaven-defying faction is brazenly active in the ancient desolate realm of gods. Yu Qianwu slowly said, although the heaven-defying faction was rather active, it had no major weaknesses. It was just like an ordinary sacred land faction. But many of the major factions knew that things were not as simple as they seemed. Although this old man does not recommend that you leave, this old man has speculated that the heaven-defying faction does not seem to have much desire for the ninth god eye. Yu Qianwu added, perhaps as Zhao Feng matured, the chances of the ninth god eye being taken grew lower and lower, so the heaven-defying faction had completely given up. Chapter 1524. Although this old man does not recommend that you leave, this old man has speculated that the heaven-defying faction has little desire for the ninth god eye. Yu Qianwu added, perhaps as Zhao Feng matured, the chances of the ninth god eye being taken were getting lower and lower, so the heaven-defying faction had completely given up. But there was another possibility. The heaven-defying faction had changed its primary goal. Is that so? Zhao Feng was rather surprised. If the heaven-defying faction gave up on the ninth god eye, that would naturally be for the best. His departure would be much less dangerous. Feng, we will meet again. Lu Qinxin bid farewell. See you, Sister Qinxin. Zhao Yufei giggled. Her relationship with Lu Qinxin was no longer as stiff as it had been in the sage faction, and they had even developed a tinge of friendship. But in her heart, Zhao Yufei still considered Lu Qinxin a competitor. After bidding farewell to the group, Zhao Feng prepared to leave. He naturally could not fly back to the spiritual race. Even using teleportation arrays would take a very long time. Using thought teleportation only required an instant. After moving Zhao Yufei into the Dream Divine Kingdom, Zhao Feng closed his eyes and created a dream. The scene around him was that of Zhao Feng's residence. But this time, thought teleportation failed. The reason might have been that the environment in which Zhao Feng had lived had changed. Since this was the case, Zhao Feng changed his destination to the spiritual race's All-Spirit Hall. All-Spirit Hall was where the spiritual race stored their arts and skills. Zhao Feng had chosen the Chaos Heaven Void origin technique from the highest floor of All-Spirit Hall. He was confident that such an important place would not be casually changed. As expected, swish, the thought teleportation succeeded, and Zhao Feng smoothly returned to the highest floor of All-Spirit Hall. The arts on the highest floor corresponded to higher levels, but there was no one there. Upon returning to the spiritual race, Zhao Feng moved Zhao Yufei out. We're here. Zhao Yufei was flabbergasted. She was still wondering if something had happened for Zhao Feng to move her out. Zhao Yufei had also been to the highest level of the Thousand Spirit Hall. When she saw everything in front of her, she couldn't believe it. Brother Feng, what's going on? Zhao Yufei's delicate face was filled with surprise. Returning to the spirit race in an instant would have shocked anyone. A special ability of the God Eye. Zhao Feng gave a simple explanation. Afterwards, he left the Thousand Spirit Palace with Zhao Yufei. Of course, Zhao Feng had changed his appearance slightly. After all, there were many astrals. When they went down, the people in the lower level of the All-Spirit Hall looked at them in surprise. Isn't this Zhao Yufei? A rank 7 ancient god spiritual race member was flabbergasted. Didn't Zhao Yufei leave the spirit tribe a long time ago? Why would she suddenly appear in the All-Spirit Hall? In addition, who was the man next to Zhao Yufei? Why had he never seen him before? Was he looking for a new lover? Sister Yufei, when did you get back? A handsome man with a white face slowly walked out of the crowd. an earnest smile on his face. This person was none other than ancient god Ice Origin, one of the main forces of the spiritual race in the gambling match between the two races. Later on, he and his father, ancient god Blue Distance, had fled in the face of danger, becoming the laughingstock of the spiritual race. I just got back. Did something happen in the spiritual race recently? Zhao Yufei gave a simple answer and was just about to leave when she suddenly asked a question. Ancient god Ice Origin was a genius of the spiritual race and had a high status, so he probably knew. There's only one major event. A few days ago, the Grand Elder broke into the second heaven, defeated the Patriarch, and replaced him. Ancient god Ice Origin immediately replied, "Oh, is that so?" Zhao Yufei was rather surprised. Even if the Grand Elder had just broken into the second heaven, he would still find it very difficult to defeat a veteran second heaven. Yufei, who is this person? Ancient god Ice Origin looked at Zhao Feng with a hint of hostility. He couldn't think of such a person in the spiritual race, but Zhao Feng appeared to be very close to Zhao Yufei. Zhao Yufei did not reply. She left All Spirit Hall with Zhao Feng and returned to the core territory of the spiritual race. Ha! Zhao Yufei, you're no longer that prodigy of the spiritual race. Ancient god Ice Origin watched as Zhao Yufei left, a disdainful smile on his face. "Yufei, something's wrong," Zhao Feng messaged. Just now, several people in All Spirit Hall looked at Zhao Yufei with completely different gazes, as if they were plotting something. "I know. I'll go find Master." Zhao Yufei had also noticed that something was off. Her master was the spiritual race's third elder, an extremely authoritative figure. But at this moment, a slightly plump elder and 4 half-step god lords descended. The 5 of them exuded an invisible pressure that caused everyone in a radius of tens of thousands of li to tremble and immediately retreat. "Respectful greetings, Patriarch," the members of the spiritual race called out in unison. This slightly plump elder was the spiritual race's Grand Elder, but he was now the Patriarch and in charge of the spiritual race. "Grand Elder, what is the meaning of this?" Zhao Yufei's expression chilled. She already knew that the Grand Elder was now the Patriarch of the spiritual race, but he had personally appeared the moment she returned. His hostility was obvious. "Zhao Yufei, as a core disciple of the spiritual race, you went out on your own and caused a major disaster. Do you still not know your crimes?" The Grand Elder's expression darkened, and he exuded a dignified aura. The pressure of a god lord instantly filled the entire spiritual race, causing everyone to fall silent out of fear. "What sort of disaster did I cause?" Zhao Yufei stared at the Grand Elder, feeling more and more that this matter was not simple. In the past, even if she made a mistake, the spiritual race would not blame her or even protect her. But this time, the spiritual race's Grand Elder was so stern that he was personally interrogating her. Moreover, Zhao Yufei did not remember what sort of disaster she had caused. Since you won't admit your wrongs, this Patriarch will personally capture you," the Grand Elder roared. Beside him, the 4 law-enforcing elders immediately moved and sealed Zhao Yufei's surroundings. Whoosh! The Grand Elder immediately flew over, and with a wave of his hand, countless shards of ice formed into the head of a massive beast that howled forward. Zhao Yufei coldly snorted. Her body soared into the air. She condensed a light purple blade of energy in her palm and threw it. Boom! Bang! Crash! 2 powerful energies fiercely clashed, causing the sky to be filled with shards of crystal. In the distance, several top-class true god spectators were injured by the shock waves of the crystal storm. Unable to escape in time, they were killed. "Where's my master?" Zhao Yufei called out. After becoming a god lord, Zhao Yufei had been quietly cultivating in the Sage faction. Her strength had greatly increased, and she was now at the peak of the first heaven. "Zhao Yufei, you dared to attack the spiritual race Patriarch. This is simply disgraceful and disrespectful." The Grand Elder did not answer Zhao Yufei's question, instead once more announcing Zhao Yufei's crimes. Swish! An azure saber appeared in the Grand Elder's hand, exuding a biting chill that caused the temperature of the entire spiritual race to drop several degrees. In the back, Zhao Feng slightly activated his left eye. Everything that was happening right now was extremely unusual. Zhao Yufei's return had actually caused the spiritual race's Grand Elder to personally take action. The current Grand Elder was a second heaven, but when Zhao Yufei left the spiritual race, she was only a rank 9 ancient god. This meant that the Grand Elder knew of Zhao Yufei's situation outside, or else he would not have personally taken action. This is Zhao Feng's left eye focused on the Grand Elder, and a hint of shock appeared in his eyes. He instantly understood what was going on. Boom! Bang! Crash! In the sky, the Grand Elder and Zhao Yufei fiercely clashed. Although Zhao Yufei's cultivation was somewhat lower, she was extremely proficient in using god-level combat skills. Her fighting prowess and technique far surpassed the Grand Elder's. The many ancient god experts in the distance were stunned by this sight. Zhao Yufei is actually able to fight against the Grand Elder. Ancient god Ice Origin's body trembled in fear. Fortunately, he had not done anything to Zhao Yufei, or else the consequences would have been unimaginable. But no matter how strong Zhao Yufei was, she would still die here. Where's my master? Zhao Yufei once more questioned the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder ignored Zhao Yufei's questions, his face brimming with killing intent as he unleashed a lethal attack on Zhao Yufei. Heaven Flower Palm. Zhao Yufei activated her bloodline with all her might, manipulating the divine power in her body, and struck out with a powerful palm strike. The energy of the world gathered toward this massive palm of faint violet light. The power of this palm had already surpassed peak first heaven and was on the level of a second heaven. Sky cloud shattering the heavens. The Grand Elder swung his ice saber again and again, unleashing a storm of ice crystals. Boom! Bang! Two powerful attacks collided with a loud bang. The entire spiritual race shook. If not for the fact that the spiritual race's buildings were rather special and fortified by arrays, they would have been destroyed. The battle between Zhao Yufei and the Grand Elder left the other upper echelon members of the spiritual race flabbergasted. They had never imagined that the prodigy of the spiritual race had already matured to this level. But at this moment, the spiritual race was in the Grand Elder's hands, so they had to listen to him. Back then, the third elder and second elder had disobeyed the Grand Elder's will and were imprisoned in the Forbidden Ground. Who is that man with Zhao Yufei? An ancient god suddenly looked at Zhao Feng. This was because Zhao Feng had been very close to the God Lord battlefield, but nothing had happened to him. This meant that Zhao Feng's cultivation was not simple. No matter who it is, they won't have a good end. Ancient god Ice Origin sneered. The reason the Grand Elder was able to replace the previous patriarch and sit in this position was because he had the support of an even stronger God Lord. It was precisely for this reason that the majority of the members of the spiritual race were willing to support the Grand Elder. At this moment, swish, a white-robed middle-aged man suddenly appeared in the sky. It's him, ancient god Ice Origin excitedly said. Patriarch, allow me to capture this traitor of the spiritual race. The white-robed man faintly smiled as he stared at Zhao Yufei. It's you? Zhao Yufei grimaced. She remembered this person. Back in the burning heaven sea, the white-robed man and his group of 3 had suddenly attacked Zhao Yufei. If not for Zhao Feng's timely arrival, she would have already been captured. This white-robed man was none other than Bai Minghui. In the end, you won't be able to escape my palm. Bai Minghui wickedly smiled. Heh, Bai Minghui, I let you escape last time. I didn't think that we would meet again so soon. At this moment, Zhao Feng finally spoke. His face slowly wriggled back into his original appearance. You're Zhao Feng. Bai Minghui was at first rather confused, but then he grimaced. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.